Chapter 768. I'm always up for it. Although Zhang Xiaofan was not confident, since Yun Jian had accepted the challenge for him, he would not be a coward. Humph. Zhang Jian turned his head away with a smirk. Soon, the class quietened down. The students seemed to have calmed down from the earlier commotion. Although the students seemed to have calmed down, none of them were calm at that moment. After a semester, Zhang Xiaofan and Zhang Jian were going to duel again. If Zhang Xiaofan was still the same old Zhang Xiaofan, the students would definitely think that Zhang Xiaofan was no match for Zhang Jian. After all, in the duel half a year ago, Zhang Xiaofan was chased around and beaten up by Zhang Jian. The two of them could not be compared at all. Zhang Jian was definitely many times better than Zhang Xiaofan. However, things were different now. Zhang Xiaofan had Slashing God from Team Monarch as his master and had been learning from Yun Jian for half a year. Who was Yun Jian? She was the legendary Slashing God with unparalleled strength. Therefore, the students were very curious. After learning from Yun Jian for so long, would Zhang Xiaofan improve even a little? Or was Yun Jian so good that she had raised Zhang Xiaofan's strength to a whole new level? Or was it that Zhang Xiaofan's strength was indeed better than Zhang Jian's? This was the result that all the students in the class were very eager to know. Therefore, once the first period ended, the group surrounded Zhang Jian noisily as they walked to the mountain behind the school. Before Zhang Jian left, he turned to look at Zhang Xiaofan and taunted Zhang Xiaofan, "I'll see you at the mountain in 2 minutes. Don't run if you're a man." The break between classes was only 10 minutes and the mountain behind the school was not far from the classroom. After saying that, Zhang Jian led a group of people to the back of the mountain noisily. Jian. Zhang Jian has brute strength. I'm afraid that Zhang Xiaofan. Chen Xinyi had seen Zhang Xiaofan being beaten down back then. She still remembered how Zhang Xiaofan was beaten down, so she spoke to Yun Jian with lingering fear. Before she could finish, however, Yun Jian cut her off. What's there to be afraid of? He has brute strength but he's still a useless piece of trash. Trust me, if Zhang Xiaofan loses to Zhang Jian today, you can pick any hotel in Longmen City. I'll treat you 1,000 times. Some of the boys and girls who were still in class gasped when they heard Yun Jian. Treat 1,000 times? Did Yun Jian have so much money that she had nowhere to spend it? Chen Xinyi nodded. Yun Jian had already stood up from her seat. The night breeze was chilly, but it gave people a relaxed and happy feeling. Are you scared? Yun Jian asked as she turned to look at Zhang Xiaofan from the corner of her eyes. What's there to be scared of? Today, I must beat that Zhang Jian until he is lying on the ground. I can't embarrass you, master. Zhang Xiaofan told himself that he must win today. He was Yun Jian's pride today. Let's go. Zhang Xiaofan said and was about to leave the classroom. Wait for another 2 minutes. Yun Jian's voice rang. Huh? Zhang Xiaofan was confused. After all, there were only 10 minutes before class ended. If they waited for another 2 minutes, it would be almost 4 to 5 minutes by the time they walked from the classroom to the mountain behind the school. Chapter 769. The mountain behind the school. It was a desolate and quiet place, especially at night. It was especially quiet in a place like the back of the mountain where there were no night lights. The night breeze was chilly and coupled with the eerie atmosphere at night, it was rather scary. Fortunately, there was a factory next to the back of the mountain. Therefore, other than the moonlight, the factory outside the fence was still lit. Because of this, he was able to reverse the strange atmosphere in this place. It was already 4 to 5 minutes past the end of class. Zhang Jian and his friends who had been waiting there for a long time were starting to get impatient. After all, the end of class was only 10 minutes and it would take 4 minutes to walk from the classroom to the back of the mountain and then back to the classroom. Time was running out but Zhang Xiaofan and Yun Jian were still nowhere to be seen. Zhang Jian, do you think Zhang Xiaofeng is so scared that he doesn't dare to come? Amidst the silence, one of Zhang Jian's best friends spoke up. No way. That Zhang Xiaofeng is such a coward. He's the disciple of Slashing God. Why is he so cowardly? Someone else immediately added. Class is starting soon and we've been waiting here for 2 minutes. Damn it, are they trying to leave us hanging here? Everyone was talking. Just as Zhang Jian was getting impatient and frustrated, someone among the students who were watching the show suddenly shouted, "Hey, look, they're here." Looking over, they saw Yun Jian, Zhang Xiaofeng, and Chen Sini walking over. Yun Jian walked at the front. Her lazy gait made her look like she was taking a stroll. The students who stood there and felt the northwest wind for a while could not help but grit their teeth. However, since they knew that Yun Jian was Team Monarch Slashing God, no one dared to criticize Yun Jian. You're here. Let's begin. Zhang Jian said as he took off his jacket, revealing his muscular arms. There's no hurry, Yun Jian said calmly. As soon as Yun Jian finished speaking, she turned her head to look at Zhang Xiaofeng. Under everyone's gaze, she said, remember the techniques I usually teach you. You have to be fast and win in one move. End the battle quickly. The technique that he usually taught Zhang Xiaofeng? What kind of technique was that? Everyone present couldn't wrap their heads around it. Zhang Xiaofeng nodded heavily. He already understood what Yun Jian meant. Yun Jian wanted him to fight with Zhang Jian today. Her intention was obvious. Not only did she want him to defeat Zhang Jian, but more importantly, she wanted him to engage in actual combat with others. In Yun Jian's own words, it was only through continuous combat that there was a possibility of improvement. You can only succeed. Failure is not an option. Go on, Yun Jian urged. What kind of master would only allow his disciple to succeed and not allow his disciple to fail? Everyone present was a little stunned. It had to be said that Yun Jian's words were too profound for everyone present. After all, everyone present thought that Yun Jian's words were too serious. Someone thought about it and said, Yun Jian, aren't you being too strict? You only allow Zhang Xiaofeng to succeed and not allow him to fail. Aren't you putting unnecessary pressure on him? What else should I do? Yun Jian raised her eyebrows and looked at that person. That person was at a loss for words after Yun Jian's question. Right now, you're only fighting one-on-one. If you step out into the world, your every move will be used by the other party to kill you. You said that I'm being too strict by only allowing him to succeed and not allow him to fail? Have you ever thought that if I don't ask him to succeed, he will choose to retreat in the face of a life and death battle? Chapter 770. Yun Jian spoke word by word. However, her words made most of the people present frown. They didn't understand. Most of them naturally didn't. Yun Jian's words were profound. However, what she said was also the truth. Yun Jian did not take in useless people. Even if her disciples could not become internationally renowned figures in the end, her minimum requirement was for them to reach the level of a high-level secret agent assassin. In fact, Yun Jian herself was a dangerous person. Those who wanted to follow her and protect their lives by her side were bound to be in danger at all times. So, what should they do when facing these dangers? Was she going to persuade Zhang Xiaofeng to give up since it was dangerous? Then, should he just wait for death? Yun Jian naturally could not do that. Hence, she wanted Zhang Xiaofeng to succeed from now on. Failure was not an option. The people present naturally did not know what Yun Jian had experienced in the past. They also did not know why Yun Jian would ask Zhang Xiaofeng to do that. Come. Don't King talk nonsense. If you delay any longer, class will start. Zhang Jian could not wait to show off. Hence, he waved his arm and greeted Zhang Xiaofeng. Zhang Xiaofeng also remembered Yun Jian's words. At this moment, he was already walking towards Zhang Jian. The mountain behind the school was no doubt the best place to settle personal grudges. This was because fighting and gang fights here were the least likely to be discovered by the teachers. Sini, hold this for me. Zhang Xiaofan took off his jacket and threw it to Chen Sini before walking towards Zhang Jian. After a period of training, Zhang Xiaofang's physique had become much stronger. In addition, Zhang Xiaofang's physique was strong. In addition to his handsome appearance, he was also the most handsome person in Longmen First High School. Coupled with his strong and perfect physique, he attracted the screams of many girls on the spot. Attack quickly. Win with one move. End the battle quickly. Yun Jian's words rang clearly in Zhang Xiaofang's ears. He clenched his fists and walked towards Zhang Jian. On the way to the back of the mountain, Yun Jian explained some techniques to him. For example, when facing a fat guy like Zhang Jian, he couldn't just use brute force. Against Zhang Jian, Yun Jian wanted him to win in speed. Fast, accurate, and ruthless. These were the moves that Yun Jian usually used. Recalling Yun Jian's usual moves, Zhang Xiaofang walked towards Zhang Jian. On the other hand, Zhang Jian was getting impatient. Take this. Zhang Xiaofang rushed forward, wanting to hug Zhang Xiaofang and perform a simple shoulder flip. Zhang Jian planned to use his brute force to carry Zhang Xiaofang's thin and weak body on his back and throw him to the ground. Just as Zhang Jian was about to approach Zhang Xiaofang suddenly moved. In the next second, he recalled the moves that Yun Jian usually taught him. He gently moved to the side and dodged Zhang Jian's approach. Zhang Jian was stunned. This kid dodged? Bang! While Zhang Jian was in a daze, he suddenly felt a powerful force coming towards him. In the next second, Zhang Jian's body flew out in an instant. He flew out in an arc and landed on the lawn a few meters away. Zhang Xiaofang took advantage of Zhang Jian's stunned state and punched Zhang Jian's abdomen. After Yun Jian's training, Zhang Xiaofang's wrist strength was now very strong. Therefore, Zhang Xiaofang's attack sent Zhang Jian flying. Shock. Everyone was shocked. It was just as Yun Jian said. Zhang Jian couldn't even withstand one move from Zhang Xiaofang. Everyone present couldn't help but feel shocked. Chapter 771. While the crowd was still in shock, Zhang Xiaofang stopped his attack while panting weakly. After all, Zhang Xiaofang was still running a fever and his stamina was obviously not as good as it was before. Therefore, he had used up all of his strength just by throwing out a light punch. Put it on quickly, you're still running a fever. Chen Sini quickly ran over and put the jacket on Zhang Xiaofang. Although Zhang Xiaofang was running a fever and his cheeks were burning, he did not feel any discomfort. In fact, he was much stronger than Zhang Xiaofang. However, Zhang Xiaofang's lack of confidence was due to the fear of being beaten up by Zhang Jian. Once bitten, twice shy. That was the principle. Zhang Xiaofang also knew that from today onwards, the voices that said that he was weaker than Zhang Jian would disappear. Other than Yun Jian, he was the role model for the students of Longmen First High School. Once he thought of that, Zhang Xiaofang's exhausted body regained its strength in an instant. Compared to Zhang Xiaofang, who won with his own strength, the crowd admired Yun Jian the most. Oh my God! What a shocking turn of events! Zhang Xiaofang has always been weaker than Zhang Jian. He was even beaten up by Zhang Jian last semester. How long has it been? Just like what Yun Jian said, Zhang Jian couldn't even last one hit from Zhang Xiaofang. Looks like this Yun Jian is really a god. Team Monarch's slashing god is really extraordinary. A few classmates could not help but boast. What? Team Monarch's slashing god? Which one is it? There were also students from other classes who came to watch the show. Look! That's the girl, she's Team Monarch's slashing god. Huh, you didn't expect that, right? She's our classmate. Voices like these rose and fell one after another. Everyone present stared at the scene with their eyes wide open. Zhang Xiaofan put on his coat and walked up to Yun Jian. He smiled and said to Yun Jian, "Master, I won." Just as he finished the last word, Zhang Xiaofan sneezed. Zhang Xiaofan had a fever and a cold. His body was already weak, but he stubbornly accepted Zhang Jian's challenge. Very good. Yun Jian also gave the highest praise. Then, she smiled slightly and finally turned around. "It's time for class." "Let's go," Yun Jian said. Indeed, it was almost time for class. Just now, Zhang Xiaofan and Zhang Jian's exchange of moves, including the exchange of words, took a total of 2 to 3 minutes. "Wait." Zhang Jian's stubborn voice came from behind. The students who had been talking stopped talking when they heard Zhang Jian's shout. Could it be that Zhang Jian was not convinced? Did he want to do it again with Zhang Xiaofan? However, they saw Zhang Jian walking towards Zhang Xiaofan. Zhang Jian's fat body trembled and he ran very quickly. "What are you trying to do?" Zhang Xiaofeng's forehead was burning, but he still stared at Zhang Jian cautiously. "Please take me in as your disciple." Zhang Jian looked at Zhang Xiaofan and said sincerely. Everyone present was shocked. Zhang Jian was really begging Zhang Xiaofan to take him in as his disciple? Although Zhang Jian did say that if he lost, he would beg Zhang Xiaofan to take him in as his disciple. However, no one present took it seriously. Zhang Xiaofan was obviously shocked as well, but he reacted quickly. Chapter 772. Zhang Xiaofeng's one-on-one duel with a well-behaved disciple was something Zhang Xiaofan bragged about in the next few days. It was to the extent that Chen Sini got a headache from listening to it. In the end, Chen Sini bought tape to seal Zhang Xiaofeng's mouth, forcing Zhang Xiaofan to shut up. A week passed in the blink of an eye. The duel on the weekend night was etched in many people's minds. While they were bragging about how Zhang Xiaofan defeated Zhang Jian, they had to mention Yun Jian as well. Yun Jian was a day student. She was often busy shuttling between school, home, New Cruise, and Falcon Hall. Other than weekends, CE would not be in Longmen City for at least 2 to 3 days from Monday to Friday. He would make a trip back to Anhun Group, but he would be back soon. Classes ended on time on Friday afternoon. Zhang Xiaofan came to school stubbornly due to his fever and cold, but his condition worsened in the next few days. Finally, he could not take it anymore and applied for leave to go home. Hence, Zhang Xiaofan was missing on Friday. Zhang Xiaofan was indeed his disciple. Although he was not as hard-working as Zhang Xiaofan when he was Yun Jian's disciple, it was not too far off. In spite of it, the main reason Zhang Jian took Zhang Xiaofan as his master was that he could not take Yun Jian as his master. Now, Zhang Xiaofan was better than him as well. Zhang Xiaofan had learned his skills from Yun Jian. This meant that even if Yun Jian refused to take him as her disciple, he could at least learn from Yun Jian through Zhang Xiaofan. "Jian, let's pack up and go home. I'm exhausted after 5 days of school. I must relax when I get home," Chen Sini said after a stretch. On Friday, as soon as class ended, all the students in the class ran out of the classroom. Especially some of the male students, after school on Friday, they ran away faster than anyone else. "I'm done," Yun Jian said to Chen Sini as she picked up her bag and slung it over one shoulder. "Let's go." Chen Sini immediately took the opportunity to walk over and hold Yun Jian's hand, pulling Yun Jian to the school gate. Usually, after Yun Jian and Chen Sini left the school gate, they would walk together for a while before separating. When Yun Jian and Chen Sini walked out of the school gate, a very familiar person walked towards them. The man had a digital camera hanging in front of his chest. When he saw Yun Jian, he immediately walked up to Yun Jian. "Hello, Miss Yun Jian." Zhao Zhengmin, who had failed to invite Yun Jian to enter the entertainment industry not long ago, stood in front of Yun Jian again. Yun Jian pressed her lips together when she saw Zhao Zhengmin standing in front of her again. She had planned to pull Chen Sini and leave by the side. Jian, he's calling you. Do you know him? Chen Sini glanced at Zhao Zhengmin suspiciously. What kind of address could a talent scout like Zhao Zhengmin not find out? Although Zhao Zhengmin did not know who Yun Jian was, his talent as a talent scout was to find out everything that could be found. It was not difficult for Zhao Zhengmin to find Yun Jian. I don't know him, Yun Jian said, planning to leave with Chen Sini. It was then that Zhao Zhengmin's eyes darted around. Seeing that Yun Jian was going to reject him again and Chen Sini was rather pretty, Zhao Zhengmin went up to Yun Jian and Chen Sini to block their path. Zhao Zhengmin turned to Chen Sini and said, Miss Yun, I'm sorry. Chapter 773. Although Chen Sini was not as pretty as Yun Jian, Chen Sini's beauty was still outstanding among girls. Especially in this society, it was rare to find a girl as fresh and sweet as Chen Sini. Therefore, since Yun Jian refused to join, Zhao Zhengmin immediately turned his attention to Chen Sini. Ah! Chen Sini was stunned by Zhao Zhengmin's invitation for a few seconds. She couldn't react in time. Whether it was in 1999 or now, talent scouts were rare existences. What's more, the talent scouts were only interested in those with good looks. Chen Sini was obviously stunned when Zhao Zhengmin, who claimed to be a talent scout, suddenly took notice of her, but she quickly reacted. You? Are you really that kind of talent scout? The kind that can act and become a star? Chen Sini was very interested but asked weakly. Obviously, Chen Sini and Yun Jian's reactions were different. Yun Jian had never been interested in this path, and Chen Sini was just an ordinary female junior high school student. She also had the yearning of a girl. Therefore, when Chen Sini heard that Zhao Zhengmin was a talent scout, Chen Sini's eyes immediately changed into yearning and excitement. Yun Jian naturally saw Chen Sini's reaction. Yun Jian herself would not join Zhao Zhengmin's company, but it didn't mean that she wouldn't let Chen Sini join. Moreover, if Chen Sini was willing or liked this path, Yun Jian would strongly support her. Zhao Zhengmin clearly captured Chen Sini's expression. He knew that Chen Sini must be very interested in what he said. Therefore, Zhao Zhengmin began to promote to Chen Sini. Yes, if you join our company specializes in training models. But if you're willing, you can also participate in movies and TV series and intern in our company for a few years. You can even debut, Zhao Zhengmin explained in professional terms. Chen Sini's interest was piqued after listening to Zhao Zhengmin's explanation. Wow, great! There's actually a talent scout looking for me. I want to go. Xiao Jian, I'm so happy. Chen Sini pulled Yun Jian's hand and jumped up and down happily. This is my name card. You can come to our company for an audition this Saturday night. I'll arrange an audition for you then. There's a role that suits you very well. Let me think. The title of the movie will be Pure Schoolgirl, Zhao Zhengmin said to Chen Sini with a smile. Yun Jian frowned when she heard the title. Okay. Chen Sini clutched the name card and nodded at Zhao Zhengmin. Then let's meet here tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. I'll drive you to our company then. Zhao Zhengmin said, and then he joked, we have a one-stop service. What better service could there be in this world? Chen Sini's head bobbed up and down. It was only after exchanging contact information with Zhao Zhengmin that Chen Sini pulled Yun Jian and left the school gate excitedly. Jian, that's great. I might become a superstar in the future. Chen Sini clasped her hands together with a look of yearning. Yun Jian nodded, but she felt that something was off about Zhao Zhengmin just now. It was just that Yun Jian did not have the ability to predict the future, so Yun Jian could only put the matter aside for now. Chapter 774. Chen Sini was different from Yun Jian. Chen Sini had the beautiful fantasy of a young girl while Yunjian's experience had long obliterated her youthful fantasies. After leaving the school, Chen Sini and Yunjian walked together for a while because Chen Sini's house was in the same direction as Dong and Ruan's house. However, it was not long before they had to part ways. Along the way, Chen Sini was humming a tune. When both of them came to a fork in the road, Chen Sini skipped 2 steps toward her house. Then, Chen Sini suddenly thought of something and turned to look at Yunjian, crossing her arms behind her back. Chen Sini tilted her head and looked at Yunjian like an ignorant girl. "Xiao Jian, are you free tomorrow night? If you're free, come with me. Heh, I won't be scared when I go for the audition with you around." Chen Sini was still exhilarated because she was overjoyed. To be honest, Chen Sini thought that it was all thanks to Yunjian. If Xiao Zhengmin had not been attracted by Yunjian and came to the school gate to look for Yunjian, she would not have been able to escape. She would not have had the chance to bump into Xiao Zhengmin, the talent scout. "We're treating tomorrow night." Yunjian smiled gracefully. Last week, Gu Junjian had said that he was treating his comrades to dinner on Saturday and had already booked a hotel and table. Yunjian would not be absent, of course, and Gu Junjian would be her stepfather soon. At that time, Gu Junjian had also repeatedly reminded them to go back for dinner. "Oh. I see." Chen Sini was a little disappointed, but she waved the phone in her hand and smiled cheekily at Yunjian. "It's fine, Jian. Trust me, I can do it alone." As she spoke, Chen Sini even showed off the muscles on her arms. Although she didn't have any muscles. Yunjian smiled. "Then I'll go first." "Let's call each other tonight," Chen Sini said and waved at Yunjian. At the same time, she patted her trouser pocket. The phone was hidden in this pocket. Chen Sini and Zhang Xiaofan came from the wealthiest families in Longmen City, so it was not surprising that they carried mobile phones with them. When Chen Sini knew that Yunjian had a mobile phone, she asked Yunjian for her phone number. Chen Sini often contacted Yunjian by phone. "Okay." Yunjian nodded. Yunjian had just returned home when she saw Lan Su and Adam, who had come back on time, walking in through the door. "Where's my mother?" Yunjian asked out of habit. "Auntie went to the market to buy groceries." Lan Su came back slowly with Adam in her arms. She was still thinking about the way Emosen had told her to serve people these few days. Ce had brought Emosen back to an Hun group. Emosen was worried about Lan Su helping Adam walk, so he picked a time for Lan Su to practice helping Adam. Lan Su was frightened by Emosen's stern demeanor. Of course, everyone knew that Emosen did it for Adam's sake. Yunjian nodded and went into the house, putting her bag down. She did not do the homework assigned by school as usual. Homework did not exist to her because she was good in her studies. Even if she did not do it, the teachers would turn a blind eye. Qin Yiru was still not back by 5:30 p.m. Yunjian could not sit still anymore. She planned to go out and look for Qin Yiru. Just as she reached the ground floor, she saw her brother, Yun-Yi, coming in from the door with a shoulder bag. "Xiao Jian, where's Mom?" Yun-Yi asked Yunjian casually. Lan Su said Mom went to the market to buy groceries. "I'm going to look for her," Yunjian answered casually. Xiao Yunju and the other two were already brought home by Qin Yiru. Kindergarten ended early and Qin Yiru had probably gone to the market to buy groceries after picking up the children. Chapter 775. Every Friday at this time, Qin Yiru would go to the market to buy groceries. It was because her son and daughter were on holiday on Fridays, and Xiao Yunju and the other two were there as well. Gu Junjian would come back every Friday as well, so Qin Yiru would make a trip to the market every Friday afternoon after picking up Xiao Yunju and the other two children. When Yun-Yi came back from DE Senior High School, the place she would pass by every week was the market that Qin Yiru often went to. Yunyi had bought a bicycle not too long ago, and Yunyi would definitely pass by the market on her way home from school because it was the shortest route. Therefore, Yunyi would often pass by there on her bicycle. There were many markets in Longmen City, and the market that Qin Yiru went to must be the one that Yunyi passed by. The market here had everything she needed. More importantly, Qin Yiru did not have to spend at least a dozen minutes to go to other markets that were further away to buy groceries. She would then carry the groceries she bought from afar home. Therefore, Yunyi would bike to the market every Friday after school to help Qin Yiru carry the groceries she bought. Yunyi was surprised that he did not see anyone at the market today, so he hurried home to check, thinking that Qin Yiru had already arrived home. Mom's not at the market? Hearing that Yunyi had just returned from the market but did not see Qin Yiru, Yunjian's brows knitted tightly together. Yunyi's expression darkened as well. I'll go ask Lan Su. Yunjian turned and went upstairs. The villa was huge and there were many rooms on the second floor. Adam, Mo-sun, and Lan Su each had a room of their own. Lan Su was originally staying in the suite that Yunjian had arranged for her. However, after Adam got injured, she felt that she owed him, so she moved from the suite to take care of him. And right now, Lan Su was definitely in Adam's room. It turned out that Lan Su was indeed in Adam's house. Hurry up and wipe me clean, woman. Yunjian heard Adam's voice as soon as she reached the corridor. Standing in the corridor on the second floor, the lights in Adam's room were still shining brightly. Hearing the voice before seeing the person, Yunjian didn't have the mind to think too much. In the next second, she flashed to the door of Adam's house. What came into view was, Lan Su had just brought a basin of water for Adam to wash his feet. At this moment, Adam had just finished washing his feet and was raising his feet to ask Lan Su to wipe his feet. You. Lan Su was just about to say something when she glanced at Yunjian, who was standing at the door. Yunjian? Yunjian didn't have the mood to see what was going on between Lan Su and Adam, so she decisively asked, "My mom really went to the market?" Yeah. Lan Su was silent for a moment, then she nodded her head heavily. And she went to the market that she often goes to. Auntie told me personally. She said that she would be back in a while. Lan Su did her best to relay everything that Qin Yiru said to Yunjian. However, Lan Su was surprised and stared blankly. She continued to ask Yunjian, what's wrong? Did something happen? My mom isn't at the market and she didn't come home, Yunjian told Lan Su simply with a frown before running down the stairs. How is it, Xiaojian? Yunyi asked as he watched Yunjian running down the stairs with a similar frown. Mom did go to the market but she didn't come back, Yunjian said as she took the jacket on the stool and ran out. Xiaojian, I'll go with you. Yunyi was panicking but he turned to leave with Yunjian. Chapter 776. There was a landline at Dong Ruan's house and Yunjian happened to have a mobile phone, so she had Yunyi stay at home. What if Qin Yiru was not missing and had come back after going out for a while? If that was the case, Yunjian would not have to look for her outside with a call. Without waiting for Yunyi's reply, Yunjian headed out. Yunyi ran to Adam's room on the second floor. Adam was currently stretching his leg out for Lan Su to wipe it clean with a dry towel. Lan Su was reluctant at first but Lan Su still helped Adam wipe it off in the end. Lan Su thought that Adam's injury was all because of her, so she would accept it even if Adam ordered her around like a maid. Just as she was done wiping Adam's leg and felt the atmosphere was a little awkward, Yunyi ran to the door. Lan Su and Adam were stunned again. Is Auntie back? Lan Su thought of it quickly and asked. However, just as Lan Su asked, Yunyi shook her head. My mom isn't back. If she's back, please give Xiaojian a call. I'll go out and look for her, Yunyi said and dashed downstairs. If something had really happened to Qin Yiru, Yunyi could not possibly stay at home like nothing had happened. No matter how poor their family was back then, Yuni thought that as long as he lived with his mother and younger sister, there was nothing they could not overcome. No matter how hard or tiring it was, no matter how poor their family was, as long as everyone was alive and healthy, there was nothing more blissful than this. Therefore, when Yuni found out that Qin Yiru had indeed gone to the market and that she could not find her after searching around, she panicked. Even if Yuni was searching aimlessly outside, it was impossible for her to stay at home and wait for news. She could not sit still. Yun Jian sent a message to Falcon Hall's Duan Lei the moment she stepped out of the house. Su Zetian was on sick leave because of his serious injuries. Now, he was cooped up at home every day. Under the care of his wife, he was living a good life. Everything in Falcon Hall was temporarily left to Duan Lei to manage. Therefore, when Yun Jian sent a message to Duan Lei immediately dispatched all members of Falcon Hall to search the streets and alleys of Longmen City. Yun Jian could indeed make use of the Kosha mercenaries' intelligence group's influence to search for someone, but the Kosha mercenaries' intelligence group did not have the ability to find a single person. It was because Qin Yiru was not an international figure. She was just an ordinary woman in Longmen City. It was impossible for the Kosha mercenaries to follow an ordinary person around all the time. After all, there were so many people on Earth. It was impossible to monitor everyone, right? Even though Qin Yiru was Yun Jian's mother, Yun Jian had never sent anyone to follow her. Under such circumstances, it was more practical for Yun Jian to seek Falcon Hall's help. After Yun Jian informed Duan Lei to bring people to look for Qin Yiru, she went to the market where Qin Yiru often went to buy groceries. Yun Jian had been to the market with Qin Yiru a few times. Following Qin Yiru, she met some of the stall owners where Qin Yiru often went to buy groceries. These stall owners had good memories, greeting Yun Jian as soon as Yun Jian walked over. Chapter 777. It was obvious that Yun Jian had come to the market with Qin Yiru a few times before, so the lady boss already knew Yun Jian. Seeing Yun Jian from afar, the lady boss could not help asking when she saw Yun Jian from afar since there was no one in front of her stall. "Has my mom been here?" Yun Jian asked with a raised brow. Yun Jian looked calm as if nothing had happened, but the truth was that Yun Jian was already overwhelmed by panic. She did not expect Qin Yiru to go missing when she went out to buy groceries. Of course, if it was the Inferno Ring who had captured Qin Yiru or some international figure who had captured Qin Yiru, Yun Jian was certain that she would know about it. Yun Jian had spies all over the world. Once those people made any noise, she would be able to wipe them out before they could do anything. This proved that Qin Yiru was not captured by the Inferno Ring or anyone who had a grudge against her. Longmen City was neither too big nor too small. If Qin Yiru had really been captured and hidden, it would be difficult for Yun Jian to find her. Therefore, it was impossible for Yun Jian not to be nervous. If it did not work, she would just send all the members of Gu Sha mercenaries over. She would find Qin Yiru even if she had to turn Longmen City upside down and turn it upside down. Didn't she just come? About 30 to 40 minutes ago. The lady boss said after doing some mental calculations while looking at Yun Jian. "Thank you." Yun Jian thanked the lady boss and was about to turn to leave when she heard the woman's voice. "Hey, have you heard of the big plastic processing factory in Longmen City? That old plastic processing factory in Qingdong Street?" "Of course, I've heard of it. It's said that the boss of the plastic processing factory is already worth millions. He's a big shot in Longmen City. If our daughter marries the boss of the plastic processing factory, wouldn't we be hooked up with a cash cow? Guess what? I heard that the boss's wife got together with her former classmate. I heard that it was exposed during the class reunion. TSK. Is that true? How could I be lying? It's been proven. The boss of the plastic processing factory chased the shameless woman out immediately 2 days ago. I heard that he didn't give the shameless woman any benefits. Bah, I think the woman deserves it. Serves her right. She didn't want to live a good life and insisted on fooling around with men. Serves her right to be divorced. Those selling vegetables in the market were sold first were the older grannies. When there was no one buying in front of the stall, these grannies would chat with the grannies at the stall next to them. Yun Jian happened to be standing there and heard the two grannies chatter. She blinked her eyes. The topic of the two grannies' conversation had spread all over Longmen City, so it was not surprising that Yun Jian could hear it. However, what attracted Yun Jian's attention was not the shocking topic. It was, if she guessed correctly, Yang Whiting, the high school classmate who stopped Qin Yiru in front of the bridal shop last week, was the subject of this conversation. When they entered the bridal shop, Dong Ruan casually mentioned that Yang Whiting was too conceited and kept boasting that her husband was the boss of Longmen City's plastic processing factory during the class reunion. Yun Jian remembered it, of course. What caught Yun Jian's attention was that Yang Whiting had been divorced from the two grannies. Chapter 778. Yun Jian strode out of the market and picked up her phone to make a call just as she stepped out. After 3 rings, Duan Lei picked up the call. Sister Jian? Find out the ex-wife of Longmen City's plastic processing plant's boss. Report to me immediately once you find her whereabouts, Yun Jian ordered simply. Yes. Duan Lei nodded in agreement despite being clueless about the situation. Yun Jian was not as nervous as she was in the beginning now that she had found her tracks. After all, she did not even know where Qin Yiru had gone in the beginning. Now, she had at least found a clue. 20 minutes later, Duan Lei finally sent a message to Yun Jian. They had found the whereabouts of the ex-wife of the plastic processing plant's boss. Falcon Hall was in control of Longmen City now, so it was easy for them to find someone. Finding a person's whereabouts in 20 minutes was considered fast. Once she got Yang Whiting's address, Yun Jian ran home at once. She sped through the streets and alleys of Longmen City in her flashy Ferrari LaFerrari. Wherever he passed, he caused the people present to be astonished. The only people who could make Yun Jian fearful were the few people she cared about. Qin Yiru was one of them. Yun Jian only had one word for people who made her fearful: death. Yun Jian had always treated them with fear. Longmen City, 118 Zhangjiang Road, in a rundown suite. A woman with a decent figure was rolling around with 5 to 6 men. The 6 or 7 people present were not wearing any clothes, and they looked even more promiscuous. If someone were to stand here right now, they would definitely vomit due to the stench of filth in the room. The woman with a decent figure wrapped herself in a blanket after she was done with the men, her eyes brimming with hatred and murderous intent. Again. One of the naked men flipped over the woman's body to continue the deed. Don't, Big Brother Lin. The thing I'm begging you to do. If one looked closely, one would be able to see that this woman who was completely naked and only had a thin blanket wrapped around her body was Yang Whiting. Yang Whiting was currently glaring at the man she called Brother Lin with a gaze brimming with hatred. My little baby, it's done for you. She's been sent to Southern Province. What are you still worried about? The man called Brother Lin touched Yang Whiting's chest. Then, he reached out to pull off the thin blanket that covered Yang Whiting's entire body. You're still worried about us bros? Besides, such healthy organs are hard to come by. Once she's sent to Southern Province, we'll be there and pluck her organs right away and bury them somewhere. There's no evidence then. Who's going to know about this? Among this group of men, a man laughed and said, but the words that came out of his mouth were extremely evil. Hearing their promise, Yang Whiting was relieved. At that moment, Brother Lin had already lifted the blanket that was covering Yang Whiting's body. Bam! At this moment, the locked iron door was kicked in from the outside. Yun Jian's ears were sharp, so she naturally heard the noise in the room. She spun and kicked the door in before standing in front of the group. Seeing that someone had suddenly entered the room, Yang Whiting was so frightened that she quickly covered her body with the bedding. Yun Jian frowned slightly once she entered and pulled out a shiny pistol from her belt. She killed 4 to 5 men in the room with a single shot until only Yang Whiting and brother Lin were left. Chapter 779. After Yun Jian entered the room, she killed 4 to 5 men without saying a word. She only left Yang Whiting and brother Lin alive because she still needed to get information from them about Qin Yiru's whereabouts. She didn't have time to continue arguing with Yang Whiting and brother Lin. She might as well go all out and kill them. Yun Jian didn't want to walk over and kill them with her butterfly knife because in this kind of environment, she felt nauseous even if she went near those naked people. Moreover, these people had kidnapped Qin Yiru. Because of the incident with Xiao Yunzhu in her previous life, Yun Jian hated people who kidnapped the people she cared about the most without her noticing. Without a doubt, this Yang Whiting had crossed her bottom line. She even dared to kidnap her mother, Qin Yiru, whom she cared about the most. Yun Jian heard everything clearly from outside the room. Selling human organs? Listening to one of the dead men in the room just now, they wanted to take away all of Qin Yiru's organs. Taking away all of the organs that could be sold would also mean that the person was dead. Therefore, when Yun Jian heard this, she was completely enraged. He rushed into the room and killed the useless people without saying a word. However, to Yang Whiting, brother Lin, and the others who were doing disgusting things in the room, Yun Jian's intrusion had already spooked the people there. However, they didn't expect Yun Jian to take out a gun. A gun. She actually had a gun. Before they could react, Yun Jian had already shot and killed a few of brother Lin's brothers. Yang Whiting, who had been a full-time housewife back then, felt fear when she saw the person next to her get shot to death. Even brother Lin, who had been selling human organs for a long time, felt the hairs on his body stand on end and he couldn't help but shiver. Yang Whiting screamed in fear. "Scream again and I'll kill you." Yun Jian pointed the gun at Yang Whiting. Bang! As soon as Yun Jian finished speaking, she shot at Yang Whiting without hesitation. The bullet grazed Yang Whiting's scalp and shot into the sofa beneath her. Yang Whiting's body trembled violently. She couldn't help but shudder. At this moment, Yang Whiting saw that the men who had been shot in the head by Yun Jian were now badly mutilated. She was so frightened that she covered her mouth. Yang Whiting originally only wanted to take revenge on Yun Jian and Qin Yiru. Because of Shenzhong's exposure, the news had reached her husband's ears. Her husband divorced her without a second thought and did not give her a single cent of the family's assets. Right now, Yang Whiting was in such dire straits that she couldn't even return to her maiden family after being involved in such an unbearable scandal. Yang Whiting's heart was filled with hatred. Hence, she found brother Lin and his group of organ traffickers. Since she was done for, she wanted Qin Yiru to be done for as well. Hence, while Qin Yiru was on her way home from the market, she asked brother Lin's brothers to kidnap her and bring her to the southern province. Then, they directly sold all of Qin Yiru's organs. As for brother Lin and his gang, the benefit of helping her was that Yang Whiting would accompany them. If you kill us, aren't you afraid that the police will arrest you and shoot you to death?" Brother Lin said in fear. Although Yang Whiting had already planned to humiliate herself, she didn't want to die. Hence, she begged Yun Jian, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Can I get your mother back for you? Please don't kill me, and if you kill us, you'll go to jail yourself." Chapter 780. Tell me where you've taken my mother or I'll let you die a horrible death. Yun Jian fired another shot at the worn sofa under Yang Whiting. She was Falcon Hall's boss. Falcon Hall was the biggest mafia group in Longmen City, and there was news recently that Falcon Hall had taken Ja Province's top mafia group, the Panthers Pack, under their banner. Falcon Hall was now the top mafia group in Ja Province. It was all thanks to the woman named Slaying Luo. Falcon Hall was ranked last among all the mafia groups in Jia province back then. Since Yun Jian was Falcon Hall's boss, what was there that she dared not do? It made sense. Was there anything that Falcon Hall's boss, Slaying Luo, dared not do? You, aren't you the director of New Cruise? You're Falcon Hall's boss. How is this possible? This is impossible. No. Yang Whiting was completely stunned. Her whole body was trembling. The identity of New Cruise's director alone was enough to give Yang Whiting a heart attack. If she were New Cruise's director, Yang Whiting would not be so terrified. The problem was that Yun Jian was not only New Cruise's director, she was also the mafia boss of Longmen City. She was the boss of all the mafia groups in Longmen City and Jia province. It could be said that Falcon Hall's boss was God in Jia province. Yun Jian was New Cruise's director and the mafia boss of Jia province's top mafia group. Double identities. How was this possible? How could a young girl like her lead Falcon Hall to become Jia province's top mafia group while founding New Cruise? I'll give you one last chance. Where's my mother? Yun Jian raised her voice. Both Yang Whiting and Brother Lin shuddered when she raised her voice. Yang Whiting was on the verge of tears. She shuddered, but she was filled with regret. How did she get involved with such a terrifying devil? Just as Yang Whiting was about to speak, "Chi!" The sound of a knife piercing into flesh spread throughout the room. Yang Whiting turned her head to look at Brother Lin in shock. Then, she lowered her head to look at the knife that had pierced her heart. You! Yang Whiting held her last breath and shouted this word. Before she could finish her sentence, Yang Whiting's eyes rolled back and she fell to the ground. Blood covered Yang Whiting's entire body, and Yang Whiting's naked body that was covered by the bedding was also exposed. Brother Lin had killed Yang Whiting so that he could live. So, when Yang Whiting was about to tell him the address, Brother Lin picked up the watermelon knife on the table and stabbed it into Yang Whiting's heart. I can still make it if I bring you there, but you have to promise not to kill me. Brother Lin's weak voice rang out. Yun Jian smiled and raised her eyebrows. She did not react to Yang Whiting's words at all. Sure. I won't kill you unless the sun rises from the west. After a while, Brother Lin put on his clothes. Brother Lin was tied up by Yun Jian as soon as he stepped out of the door. How could Yun Jian allow Brother Lin to sit in the passenger seat of her sports car? She had already tied Brother Lin up and tied him to the roof of her Ferrari sports car. Brother Lin was enjoying the most thrilling roller coaster ride along the way. It only took slightly more than an hour to travel from Jia province to Nan province. Yun Jian only used a short 20 minutes to get there. Chapter 781. Yun Jian sped all the way to the highway. She sped so fast that even the cars driving on the highway were startled. Who's driving so fiercely? However, what attracted the most attention was Brother Lin, who was tied to the roof of Yun Jian's sports car and could not move at all. Brother Lin had experienced a new and exciting roller coaster ride. He could not move at all after being tied to the roof of the car by Yun Jian. Furthermore, Yun Jian was speeding at an incredible speed. It would take more than an hour to travel from Jia province to Nan province. However, Yun Jian had reduced the speed to 20 minutes, which was 3 times shorter. Reality proved how difficult it was for Brother Lin, who was sitting on the roof of the car. Nan province, the place closest to the border of Jia province. It was the most deserted part of a street called Shibu Street. Right in front of it was a huge signboard with the words Renhe Clinic hanging on it. One could tell that it was a private clinic at a glance. Moreover, it was located in the most deserted corner of Shibu Street. There were very few people around and no one came here to seek treatment. At that moment, a large black van slowly drove into the place. The people present did not pay much attention to it. Although cars were rare in 1999, it was not strange for a car to drive into a clinic to save a life. The large black van had just driven into the place. When it arrived in front of Renhe Clinic, the van slowly came to a stop. When it arrived at the entrance of Renhe Clinic, it was already a deserted and uninhabited alley. In this place, no one could hear you even if you screamed yourself hoarse. At this moment, the van's side door was pulled open with a swoosh. "Hurry up and get it out. Hurry up and get in." A man wearing a black mask jumped out of the van. He was urging the few thugs in the van. As soon as the man in the black mask spoke, he turned around and shouted into Renhe Clinic, "Come out and help. There's a patient here. Come out and help, there's a patient here," was just a code. Immediately, a few people dressed as doctors ran out of Renhe Clinic. On the surface, Renhe Clinic was a clinic, but in fact, it was secretly involved in the business of selling human organs. The people in this line of work referred to those who were abducted as goods. As long as there were goods who were abducted, they would be taken to the Renhe Clinic to be dissected for their organs. Therefore, when the man in the black mask said the code, it meant that the goods had arrived and it was time to start working. After the masked man got out of the car, a few people rushed out of the clinic. Just as the group of people were about to move the unconscious Qin Yiru out of the car, a voice suddenly sounded. A fiery red sports car zoomed in from outside the alley. "This is..." Just as the people present reacted, they saw that the fiery red Ferrari sports car had already rushed towards them. Bang! 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 A series of sounds rang out. The fiery red Ferrari rushed over and immediately drifted with lightning speed. Yun Jian drove the Ferrari sports car at a crazy speed. Then, she turned the steering wheel and the Ferrari directly crashed into the group of men who were standing beside the black van, led by the man in the black mask. 5 to 6 people present were suddenly sent flying by Yun Jian's crash. What's going on? The people who had yet to pull Qin Yiru out of the van saw this and ran out of the car one after another. As soon as they got out of the car, they saw that the Ferrari sports car had smashed into a bloody mess. The few people led by the man in the black mask had already lost their breath. And these people saw that not far away, there was a 16-year-old girl standing on the roof of the fiery red Ferrari sports car. Yun Jian was standing on the roof of the car without them noticing. Chapter 782. As soon as Yun Jian appeared, she drove her Ferrari and rammed into the 5 or 6 people who were standing on the flat ground, sending them flying. Among the 5 or 6 people who were sent flying, 3 of them, including the man wearing a black mask, died on the spot. The other 2 were sent flying because they weren't hit head-on. Now, they were lying on the ground on their last breaths. The lucky ones were the people who hadn't gotten out of the van just now. At this moment, these people heard the commotion and ran out of the van. However, they were shocked by the terrifying scene in front of them. Where did this little girl come from? She actually drove her car and killed their people on the spot. Faced with such a situation, these people didn't have time to look at Yun Jian, who was still standing on the roof of the van. One of them rushed into the Renhe Clinic and shouted loudly, "Brother Peng! Brother Peng! Something happened. There's a little girl who's causing trouble here." This group of people were all people who had done heinous things. To them, there was nothing to be afraid of after doing so many bad things. Most of these people were death row criminals who had done things that were bound to be killed. They just took advantage of the opportunity to escape before they were caught. For example, they had killed people, smuggled drugs, and so on. If they were caught, they would definitely be sentenced to death. Therefore, this group of people organized themselves into a gang that specialized in abducting or directly abducting living people from other provinces to dissect them and sell their organs for money. It could be said that they were wanted criminals. Dead people were often seen. Therefore, as long as they weren't the ones who died, even if they saw Yun Jian kill their own people on the spot, they didn't have the slightest bit of sympathy. Seeing this group of people shouting in the direction of the Renhe clinic, Yun Jian knew that this group of people didn't listen to her at all. She smiled coldly. In the next second, she lifted her leg slightly, leaned forward, and jumped from the roof of the Ferrari to the flat ground. At this moment, another group of people ran out of the Renhe clinic. Other than the first group of people who ran out of the Renhe clinic and were sent flying by Yun Jian's car, this group of people who ran out was led by a man with a rough appearance and a tall and burly body. His upper arms and abdominal muscles were almost as thick as a normal person's thigh. Ordinary people would tremble in fear just by looking at such an appearance. This rough-looking man was the Brother Peng that the man had mentioned earlier. Brother Peng ran out of Renhe clinic with a group of people in white coats, but he happened to see this scene. With a light leap, she hopped down from the top of the Ferrari sports car. Then, Yun Jian did a side flip. Her figure was like a ghost. With a slight turn of her body, several sharp blades appeared in her hand. With a flick of her hand, the blades shot towards the fatal spots of the people who had just alighted from the black van like a rocket. Chi! 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 Before the thugs who had called Brother Peng out could escape, Yun Jian's flying daggers had already pierced their vital points. Their eyes widened as they stared at the girl in front of them who was like the Grim Reaper. Then, one after another, they fell to the ground and completely lost their breath. Brother Peng ran out of the Renhe clinic with a group of people and saw this scene. In the next second, Yun Jian turned her head sideways. Her eyes were bloodshot as she sized up Brother Peng and the others with a naked gaze. However, it made Brother Peng and the others panic from the bottom of their hearts. Chapter 783. You. Brother Peng took the lead and stood not far away from Yun Jian. When he led a group of people out of the Renhe clinic and saw Yun Jian kill the group of people in front of her within seconds, Brother Peng was so shocked that he stopped talking. However, he was someone who had seen a lot of things. Moreover, he was in front of his brothers, so Brother Peng did not want to show any weakness. Brother Peng looked at Yun Jian, but his eyes were fixed on the blade in Yun Jian's hand. The blade in this little girl's hand could kill. She had killed the group of brothers who had just returned with the goods. Although he was panicking, Brother Peng had to suppress the fear in his heart. He looked at Yun Jian and gulped before asking, "Who are you?" However, Yun Jian only turned her head to glance at Brother Peng and the rest. In a flash, she followed the pile of bodies on the ground and arrived at the side door of the van. Yun Jian was really angry this time. Since her rebirth, this was the first time she had killed so many people on such a large scale. This feeling of killing reminded Yun Jian of the time when she was the secret agent slaying God in her past life. She still remembered the time when she was surrounded by a secret agent organization. Although the secret agent organization was not particularly famous internationally, it was still ranked within the top 20 international secret agent killer organizations. Such an organization might not be much, but all the secret agents in the organization had surrounded her and killed her alone. Hundreds of secret agents had killed her alone. There were even dozens of high-level secret agents. In such a situation where death was certain, Yun Jian killed everyone in the end and annihilated the secret agent organization on her own. She survived covered in blood. That time, it could be considered a true massacre. Perhaps it paled in comparison to what she was doing now. However, the difference was that in her past life, she was only doing it to survive. Now, she was doing it for her family. At the same time, Yun Jian had to let everyone know that anyone who dared to harm her family would be killed without mercy. Following the pile of corpses on the ground, Yun Jian slowly made her way to the side door of the black van. Lifting her head slightly, she caught sight of Qin Yiru, who was tied up with hemp ropes and had black tape over her mouth. However, Qin Yiru was unconscious at the moment. She had no idea how bloody the scene was because of her. Because of her, Yun Jian had killed many people who were involved in this incident. In fact, he deserved to be punished. The truth was, if Yun Jian had not found this place, or if she had been an hour or two later, Qin Yiru's organs would have been crudely dug out by these crazy people. There were many rich people in the world, and the one thing they did not lack was money. However, what should they do when they were seriously ill and needed organ transplants? Naturally, they had no lack of money. That was why there were countless children who went missing in this world and people who had their arms and legs broken on the streets. Usually, the organs of those who were kidnapped were sold at a high price by people like Brother Peng to those seriously ill rich people to save their lives. Of course, if they were lucky enough to survive after their organs were taken away, these crazy people would cripple them and put them on the streets to attract the pity of a lot of people. They would then ask for money. After their organs were squeezed dry, they would be thrown on the streets to beg for money. These were all things that happened in the real world. If Yun Jian did not save Qin Yiru before this group of people took action, Qin Yiru would only end up dead. This group of people had never thought of letting Qin Yiru go. Therefore, when she fell into Yun Jian's hands, Yun Jian would not let them go. Chapter 784. Yun Jian completely ignored Brother Peng and the others who were standing in front of Renhe Hospital. She stepped onto the van and lifted Qin Yiru out of the van. Although Qin Yiru was heavier than Yun Jian, she wasn't particularly heavy. Using the butterfly knife in her hand, Yun Jian quickly untied the hemp rope and the black tape on Qin Yiru's mouth. Then, she lifted Qin Yiru to the side door of the van. Then, she placed Qin Yiru's hand on her shoulder. Yun Jian lifted the foot that had just stepped onto the side door. She turned around and lifted Qin Yiru onto her back. In the next second, Yun Jian had already carried Qin Yiru onto her back and walked towards the Ferrari sports car. Although Qin Yiru looked a little plump, she wasn't particularly heavy. Hence, Yun Jian carried Qin Yiru on her back very easily. Brother Peng and the others didn't even dare to make a sound until they opened the door of the Ferrari, carefully placed Qin Yiru inside, and closed the door. This little girl was too scary. She didn't hesitate at all when she killed people. There were many corpses lying on the ground. Brother Peng and the others couldn't help but tremble when they saw it. However, this little girl in front of them didn't seem to be afraid at all. She walked over naturally, carried Qin Yiru on her back, and went back. Was she used to killing people? Looking at the corpses on the ground, she wasn't afraid at all. Brother Peng and the others felt their scalps go numb. Although Brother Peng was very afraid, he couldn't help but relax when he thought about how his men had already slipped away from the back door to look for help. Furthermore, the help should be arriving soon. Brother Lin, who had been kicked off the roof of the Ferrari by Yun Jian, was still lying on the ground, pretending to be dead. Yun Jian carefully placed Qin Yiru, who had already fainted, into her Ferrari sports car. Then, Yun Jian closed the side door of the Ferrari sports car. She turned around and suddenly took out a shiny butterfly knife from her pocket. The knife was like the Grim Reaper's scythe. When Yun Jian pointed the butterfly knife at Brother Peng and the others without a word, Brother Peng and the others panicked for no reason. "It's your turn." Yun Jian's red lips moved. She spoke calmly, but the words that came out of her mouth were like the summons of the Grim Reaper. It made the group of fake doctors who were no longer afraid of blood after harvesting human organs tremble. "Brother Peng, hasn't Zhang San found him yet? He had been gone for so long. What should we do?" A person who was dressed like a doctor standing behind Brother Peng asked in a panic when he saw Yun Jian approaching them with the butterfly knife in her hand. Even if this group of people were stupid, they could tell what was going on. It wasn't hard to see through the entire situation. It was obvious that the new goods that they had kidnapped was Qin Yiru. It was Yun Jian's mother. Of course, they would start a massacre when they kidnapped her mother. However, Brother Peng and the others had never encountered such a situation. Just this little girl, she actually had the ability to kill everyone here. "She's over there." Hurry over. Just as Yun Jian was about to reach Brother Peng and the others, and Brother Peng and the others were about to fight to the death with Yun Jian, a male voice suddenly rang out. Zhang San. Zhang San is back. The man standing behind Brother Peng shouted in surprise. Reinforcements had arrived. Yun Jian narrowed her eyes and looked towards the source of the voice. Around the corner, a limping man was leading a group of strong men towards them. Chapter 785. The limping man who led a group of people over was Zhang San, who ran out from the back door to look for help. Behind him was a group of gangsters. This group of people looked ferocious. Among this group of gangsters, the man who led them was blind in one eye. That blind eye looked very different from a normal eye. At this moment, the blind man was leading a group of people towards them. This man was the boss of a gang in the southern province, but not the number one gang in the southern province. Everyone in the underworld called him One-Eyed Wolf, but no one knew his real name. Boss Wolf, you're here. Brother Peng immediately led a group of people over there. There was a reason why Brother Peng and his gang dared to run amok here. The southern province was called Nan City, and Nan City was one of the largest cities in the southern province. The southern province did not occupy a large area in country Z. It was much smaller than Jia province, and Jia province's economy was developing faster because it was a coastal city. Although Nan City was not as good as Jia province, it was still impressive. This One-Eyed Wolf was the boss of Nan City. At least until now, no one in Nan City could compete with him. The reason why Brother Peng and his gang dared to openly sell human organs here was because of One-Eyed Wolf's protection. Therefore, Brother Peng and his gang were not afraid when One-Eyed Wolf appeared, even if the sky fell down. What's going on? One-Eyed Wolf scanned the scene and saw a large number of corpses on the ground. His eyebrows twitched, and he asked Brother Peng while gritting his teeth. It's her, she killed our brothers. Brother Peng quickly pointed at Yun Jian. One-Eyed Wolf then turned his gaze to the seemingly harmless Yun Jian in the distance. Little girl, it's you who dared to run amok in my territory? One-Eyed Wolf emitted a fierce aura. He looked at Yun Jian with a murderous look in his eyes. You're so young, yet you dare to run amok in my territory. You killed so many of my brothers. If you can leave here alive today, it'll be my loss. One-Eyed Wolf looked at Yun Jian. Everyone present could feel the murderous look in his eyes. Ha! Yun Jian smirked when she heard what One-Eyed Wolf said. What a coincidence. If any of you can leave here alive today, I'll write my name Slaying God in reverse. Yun Jian flicked the butterfly knife gently. She smirked, her sharp eyes like a sword. However, that was not what everyone was concerned about. Instead, what? Slaying God? In this world, other than Slaying God, the number one secret agent on the international secret agent ranking, no one else dared to use Slaying God as their code name. This was because Slaying God, the number one on the international secret agent ranking, was a global 3S wanted criminal. She was a terrifying existence with countless lives in her hands. Did this young lady just call him Slaying God? What did that mean? To Yun Jian, whenever she revealed her identity as Slaying God, it meant that she was already treating these people as dead. For dead people of dead people who was dead. Because they were about to go to hell. In spite of it, what Yun Jian said was more unbelievable than the sky falling down on them. Slaying God? The number one agent on the International Secret Service chart, Slaying God? You? Who are you trying to fool? One-Eyed Wolf mumbled to himself. One-Eyed Wolf's words stunned everyone present. Even Brother Peng was stunned. Even Brother Lin, who had been lying on the ground pretending to be dead, was shocked. How was that possible? This little girl could not be Slaying God. She was the boss of the Kosha mercenaries. Hence, the dummies present were relieved. However, just as everyone relaxed, One-Eyed Wolf's expression changed. Chapter 786. As Yun Jian spoke, she reached for the butterfly knife. One-Eyed Wolf and the rest felt their hearts skip a beat. F***CK. You're just a kid who's still wet behind the ears. How dare you call yourself slaying God? Huh. Go. Whoever kills her today will be rewarded with 100,000 yuan. One-Eyed Wolf's eyelid twitched, but he still refused to believe that Yun Jian was slaying God. What a joke. Slaying God was the #1 on the international secret agent ranking. At the same time, she was also the boss of Kosha mercenaries. How could such a legendary character appear here? One-Eyed Wolf and the rest would rather believe that there was a sow flying in the sky than believe that Yun Jian was slaying God. Judging by Yun Jian's appearance, she was still underage. Moreover, Yun Jian had killed so many people from his gang and even snatched away Qin Yiru, the big fat good. As the mafia boss of South City, One-Eyed Wolf felt that he could not sit still and shouted immediately. Due to the fact that South City was not economically developed, a mafia boss like One-Eyed Wolf did not have a substantial source of income. That was why One-Eyed Wolf had brother Peng and the rest open a clinic in South City. On the surface, it was just a small clinic, but it was an underground trading center that abducted people from all over the world and forcefully removed their organs to sell them. Before Qin Yiru, countless people had been killed. One-Eyed Wolf did it because he wanted to earn money by selling human organs. Moreover, after doing this for a long time, One-Eyed Wolf had quite a lot of savings in his hands. When they heard One-Eyed Wolf say that whoever killed Yun Jian would be rewarded with 100,000 yuan, they were tempted. 100,000 yuan. That was considered a huge sum of money back then. 10 years less of a struggle was nothing more than that. F***CK, brothers, let's go. Immediately, some of them picked up all kinds of iron rods and bars and surrounded Yun Jian. 100,000 yuan was enough for these gangsters to fight for their lives. Although Yun Jian had a knife, they had iron rods and bars. Moreover, there were so many of them. Would they lose to a little girl? What a fucking joke. Just as the group of men charged toward Yun Jian, waving their metal rods with murderous intent, Yun Jian's eyes lit up. Yun Jian did not budge from where she stood. It wasn't until the person running in front waved his iron rod at Yun Jian that Yun Jian moved. She dodged to the side and kicked the man to the ground. At the same time, Yun Jian bent her body slightly. She swung the butterfly knife in her hand at lightning speed. As she bent her body slightly, the knife in her hand seemed to have a life of its own. It moved fiercely, and this knife directly pierced the person's vital point. Killed in one move. This group of people deserved to die, because everyone here was the mastermind behind the trafficking of human organs. How many people's families were broken because of them? How many innocent people died because of them? If the people here were to be arrested by the police, they would not be able to escape death. After Yun Jian stabbed the first person who wanted to kill her to claim credit, her bloodshot eyes appeared again. Seeing that the first person was killed by Yun Jian in one move and had no chance to react, the group of people who rushed towards Yun Jian stopped in their tracks and ran back. I've said it before. No one can leave this place alive. All of you must die. Yun Jian's eerie voice came from behind everyone. Then, One-Eyed Wolf and the rest who were standing far away could only feel a shadow sweeping past them. Wherever it passed, a large number of people would fall. That little girl was simply a demon. Seeing his subordinates fall to the ground one by one, One-Eyed Wolf felt fear. It was also then that One-Eyed Wolf recalled how Yun Jian referred to herself earlier. Slaying God. She's really slaying God. She's really slaying God. Chapter 787. Just as One-Eyed Wolf said that, Yun Jian had already stabbed the last person who had charged at her but turned to flee. At this moment, her body was also covered in blood. The blood belonged to the people who had turned to flee. However, the eerie blood staining Yun Jian's clothes added an eerie and terrifying atmosphere to the scene. One-eyed Wolf and Brother Peng shuddered in fear. When they snapped back to their senses, Yun Jian was already walking toward them with a butterfly knife in her hand. Blood was still dripping from the blade of the butterfly knife that was pointed toward the ground. As Yun Jian walked toward them, blood splattered everywhere she passed. One-eyed Wolf was terrified. South City was not big. One-eyed Wolf was considered the leader of a small gang in South City. There were only 1,000 to 2,000 brothers in the gang. Seeing Yun Jian in such a state, he could not resist at all. He was trembling all over and his body was tense. One-eyed Wolf was dumbfounded when he saw Yun Jian walking toward him. He begged for mercy immediately. No, no. Please, don't kill me. I believe you're slaying God. I believe you, don't kill me. As he spoke, One-eyed Wolf knelt in the direction where Yun Jian was coming from. She was slaying God. Who would dare to offend her? One-eyed Wolf's courage had long dissipated. Do you think you can still live after knowing who I am? Yun Jian was already standing in front of One-eyed Wolf and the rest. I. Just as One-eyed Wolf spoke, Yun Jian's saber was already thrusting down. Before One-eyed Wolf could even react, she had already stabbed him to death with a single stab. Naturally, Brother Peng was not spared when One-eyed Wolf was dead. When Brother Peng and the rest saw Yun Jian's horrifying killing technique, their first thought was to run. However, they were killed by Yun Jian before they could take more than a few steps. The sun was about to set, and a red afterglow flashed across the horizon. However, the sky was covered in blood. It had been a long time since Yun Jian felt like she did in her previous life. She only hated these villains who had kidnapped her. In her previous life, Yun Jian had also been kidnapped when she was young. Later on, when she found her way back home, her parents had passed away in order to find her. Only her younger brother was left behind in the orphanage, alone and without anyone to depend on. He was even bullied and humiliated. Yes, she was more unfortunate than Qingyu, so she did not want Qingyu to be misunderstood by her family. To Yun Jian, she felt that people like One-eyed Wolf who destroyed other people's happy families for money deserved to die. Brother Lin stood on the spot, trembling. Yun Jian's every move today was like a nightmare. It struck Brother Lin's heart and gave him endless fear. When Yun Jian turned around, other than Qin Yiru, who was still unconscious in the Ferrari, and the ground was littered with corpses, Brother Lin was the only living person. You said you wouldn't kill me. Brother Lin gulped as he watched Yun Jian walk towards him. His whole body was trembling but he couldn't help but remind her. I won't kill you, Yun Jian said softly. Her soft whisper, coupled with the sky that was about to turn dark and the atmosphere that was littered with corpses, sent chills down one's spine. However, just as Brother Lin took a deep breath, thinking that he had gotten Yun Jian's assurance that he had escaped death's call, Yun Jian suddenly stopped him. That's impossible, Yun Jian said as the butterfly knife in her hand drew a mesmerizing arc in the air. Brother Lin's heart clenched when he heard Yun Jian's voice. Lifting his head abruptly, he saw the knife in Yun Jian's hand stabbing into his fatal spot. Brother Lin didn't even have time to finish his last sentence before he fell backwards. At this moment, even the last of the sun's red glow was covered by the clouds. Chapter 788. Killing One-eyed Wolf was tantamount to dissolving South City's mafia. Yun Jian had never thought of extending her influence to South City, at least not now. South City's economic development was not as good as Jia Province, and Jia Province alone was enough for Yun Jian to take in, so Yun Jian did not plan to expand her influence for the time being. Of course, Yun Jian's ultimate goal for Falcon Hall was not limited to Jia Province. Yun Jian contacted Duan Lei, and the corpses of One-Eyed Wolf and his men were dealt with by him. After all, One-Eyed Wolf and his men were felons who trafficked in human organs. Duan Lei had counted up to thousands of families that were ruined by them. Even if One-Eyed Wolf and his men were caught alive and brought to the police station, they would be sentenced to death. Of course, if they were not sentenced to death after being caught by the police, Yun Jian could not kill for no reason. However, with Yun Jian's identity as an advanced special forces soldier, the outcome was different. Yun Jian had killed One-Eyed Wolf and his men because she was doing her job impartially. It was within her duty. Yun Jian had never been a good person, so she purposely left the address to Duan Lei and drove Qin Yiru back to Longmen City in her sports car. Qin Yiru had been unconscious all the way back to Longmen City from South City. In spite of it, Yun Jian had checked that Qin Yiru would be fine. She was just drugged and would wake up after a while. Of course, Yun Jian did not want Qin Yiru to wake up right now. Because at this moment, her body was covered in blood. It was not her blood, but if Qin Yiru saw it, Yun Jian did not know how to explain it. If Qin Yiru knew that she had killed those people because of her, it would not be easy for Qin Yiru to clean up the mess given her personality. Therefore, the best solution was to keep Qin Yiru in the dark. Back in Longmen City, Yun Jian drove straight home. As soon as she got out of the car, she saw Lan Su standing at the door. Yun Jian. Seeing Yun Jian, Lan Su immediately greeted her. Yes. When Yun Jian got out of the driver's seat, her originally clean clothes were now stained with blood. When Lan Su saw this, she frowned deeply. Then, she walked over and scanned Yun Jian from head to toe. When she saw that Yun Jian was fine, she heaved a sigh of relief. When Lan Su walked over, she saw Qin Yiru lying unconscious in the front passenger seat. Seeing that Yun Jian was fine, she decided to open the front passenger door. Is Auntie okay? Lan Su opened the door and asked. I'm fine. Yun Jian turned her head slightly and said to Lan Su, help me take my mother to her room. I'm going to take a shower and change into clean clothes. If anyone saw Yun Jian in her current state, they would definitely be suspicious. Lan Su nodded. As Yun Jian walked into the house, Lan Su suddenly remembered something and told Yun Jian, Uncle Gu and your brother are still outside looking for Auntie, I'll give them a call. Yun Jian paused and went back into the house. She called Gu Junjian and found that Gu Junjian and Yuni were together. When Qin Yiru was in trouble, Gu Junjian, who knew about it after he got home, ran out to look for her without even changing out of his military uniform. As he searched, he did not find her but found Yun Yi instead. A single call from Yun Jian and both of them rushed home. When Yun Jian went downstairs after taking a shower and changing into clean clothes, she saw Gu Junjian and Yun Yi standing downstairs. Chapter 789. Gu Junjian had never been as scared as he was today. When he first came home and heard that Qin Yiru was missing, he didn't even have time to change out of his military uniform before he ran out to look for her. Gu Junjian had never experienced the feeling of searching aimlessly on the streets without knowing where the person he was looking for was. However, it was also the most terrifying experience that Gu Junjian had ever experienced. Gu Junjian had even planned to violate the military rules and use his authority to look for her. It was then that his phone rang. It was Yun Jian who called him. Mom will wake up soon. Yun Jian pursed her lips and went downstairs. Okay. Hearing Yun Jian's words, not only did Gu Junjian heave a sigh of relief, even Yun Yi felt the same. Dong Ruan had already started work. She didn't know what had happened here, and Ce had already brought Emosen back to the Kosha mercenaries. Yun Jian's words were the most reassuring. No one asked where Yun Jian found Qin Yiru, because they all believed that Yun Jian could handle this matter herself. At 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening, Qin Yiru woke up as expected. At this moment, everyone was surrounding Qin Yiru's bed. Qin Yiru opened her eyes groggily. The first thing she saw was the crowd surrounding her. She had just woken up and was startled, obviously startled by the commotion. Why are all of you here? Qin Yiru was supported by Yun Jian to sit at the head of the bed. She leaned against the wall and asked in shock. We. Yun Yi was about to speak, but Yun Jian reached out and tugged at the corner of her shirt. Mom, I found you collapsed on the side of the road on my way to the market. You scared us. Yun Jian explained. She did not intend to tell Qin Yiru the truth. At this moment, Yun Jian also knew that Qin Yiru must have fainted on the spot when she was walking back from the market. That was why Yun Jian explained it this way. When Yun Yi and the others heard Yun Jian's words, they were only slightly stunned. Then, they quickly reacted and helped Yun Jian lie. Even if Yun Jian didn't tell them the whole story, they could tell that something dangerous must have happened to Qin Yiru when Qin Yiru was drugged. It was better for Qin Yiru, the person involved, to not know about such a dangerous matter. Qin Yiru also nodded. She was unconscious when she was unconscious, so she did not suspect anything. Mom, drink some water to moisten your mouth first, Yun Jian said as she handed a glass of water to Qin Yiru. Fortunately, nothing serious happened in the end, and this matter was over. No one mentioned it, so Qin Yiru really thought that she had just fainted. Qin Yiru was fine, but Yun Jian and Gu Junjian had to take measures to prevent such a thing from happening again. Yun Jian planned to buy Qin Yiru and Yun Yi a cell phone so that they could contact each other easily. Moreover, as long as Qin Yiru and Yun Yi had a cell phone with them, Yun Jian could track the exact location of the cell phone through a computer program. Gu Junjian planned to mobilize the military to pay more attention to Qin Yiru's safety when necessary. On Saturday morning, Yun Jian went for morning exercises as usual. When she went, she brought Yun Yi with her and met Zhang Xiaofan at a bridge not far away. However, this time when she met Zhang Xiaofan brought a small follower with him. Master, I'm here. Zhang Xiaofan waved excitedly at Yun Jian. Yun Jian looked over and saw a fat boy standing beside Zhang Xiaofan. This fat boy was Zhang Jian. When he saw Yun Jian, Zhang Jian greeted Yun Jian respectfully, Grandmaster. Chapter 790. It was not just Yun Jian who twitched her lips when she heard Zhang Jian call her Grandmaster. Even Yun Yi, who was surprised to hear Zhang Jian call her younger sister Grandmaster, slipped. Fortunately, Yun Yi had good willpower. She did not fall and stood firm after tilting. Cough, cough. After regaining his footing after nearly slipping, Yun Yi coughed softly as if trying to cover up the awkward atmosphere. Xiao Jian, when did you become my Grandmaster? Yun Yi asked Yun Jian after faking a cough and rubbing her nose out of habit. Not long ago, of course. Heh, Junior Yun Yi, you have a martial nephew now. Tell me, are you happy? Zhang Xiaofan put his arm around Yun Yi's shoulder affectionately and asked with a chuckle. Yun Yi patted Zhang Xiaofang's head and said with a smile, "Go away. You're so rude." She giggled as she spoke. Zhang Xiaofan even pulled Zhang Jian with a chuckle and introduced Yun Yi to him. This is my master's elder brother. He's my junior brother now. Call him Grandmaster. Quick. Zhang Jian really did call Yun Yi Grandmaster at that. It was only then that Yun Jian spoke to Zhang Xiaofan. You're almost recovered from your fever? Are you sure you didn't turn stupid from the fever? Actually, Zhang Xiaofan was almost fully recovered on Friday. Yun Jian was purely joking when she said that. No, I'm great, Master. Zhang Xiaofan answered with a grin. Then bring your disciple along for the morning exercise, Yun Jian said and led the group to run around the city. Little Fatty, let's go. Little Fatty was a nickname Zhang Xiaofan gave Zhang Jian. Then, the group of people followed Yun Jian. After running a lap around Longmen City, Yun Jian, Zhang Xiaofan, and Yun Yi were already used to it, only sweating a little. However, it was different for Zhang Jian, whose body fat was almost squeezed into a pile. Zhang Xiaofan almost suffocated from following Yun Jian's footsteps. Only now did he realize why Zhang Xiaofan, who was beaten up by him last semester, had become so powerful this semester. This was simply devilish training. After taking a walk in the morning, Yun Jian went home to take a hot shower and change into a clean set of clothes when she was about to go out in the afternoon. After the new year, spring came. When the sun was high in the sky during the day, it was as hot as summer. Of course, it wasn't summer yet. The temperature was rising, but it didn't feel as hot as summer. It was said that spring and autumn were the most perfect seasons. However, in Jia province, there were 4 seasons in a year. This was an unchangeable weather phenomenon. Yun Jian changed into a set of clean clothes after her shower. She wore a pink tight-fitting top. Since the sun was high in the sky today, Yun Jian only wore a top and a pair of pants. Qin Yiru bought the clothes for her. She said that girls should wear more pink clothes. Of course, Yun Jian would not reject the clothes that Qin Yiru bought for her, not even once. Gu Junjian treated his comrades to dinner tonight. To put it bluntly, it was because of his marriage with Qin Yiru that he was treating his comrades to a meal in advance. Therefore, Yun Jian wore something more festive. It was also her first time wearing a pink outfit in both her lives. She wore a pair of tight-fitting pants that were tight enough to outline the perfect curves of her slender thighs, giving people an irresistible visual impulse. Xiao Jian, you're the only one left. We should go. Qin Yiru's voice came from downstairs. Chapter 791. Those who were standing downstairs were dressed in pretty clothes. Xiao Yunju, Duanli, and Duanya were wearing clothes that Qin Yiru had just bought. Xiao Yunju and the other 2 were thrilled because they could go to a restaurant today. Yunyi had changed into a more formal outfit as well, adding a youthful charm to her. Adam was injured but he could still walk. It was rare for everyone to have a gathering like this, so he had to join in the fun no matter what. Lan Su was pitiful when Adam had to go, so Lan Su had no choice but to support Adam all the way. Everyone was already standing upstairs, waiting for Yun Jian to come down. Why isn't Xiao Jian coming down yet? I'll go check. Qin Yiru planned to go upstairs to check on Yun Jian when she saw that everyone was getting impatient from waiting. Qin Yiru had just reached the staircase when she saw Yun Jian coming down from upstairs with a slight lift of her head. Xiao Jian, why are you only coming down now? Qin Yiru asked as she looked up, coincidentally catching sight of Yun Jian's outfit. Yun Jian was still wearing a high ponytail. Her long, silky hair flowed down casually, exuding a delicate beauty no matter how one looked at her. Yun Jian had changed into a shade of pink that she had never worn since her rebirth. Yun Jian's skin was fair to begin with, so the tight-fitting pink long-sleeved shirt she was wearing made Yun Jian's cheeks glow with a rosy hue. Pink and delicate. If one were to forget Yun Jian's usual aloof face and terrifying skills, she really looked like a fresh and delicate young girl right now. Everyone in the room stared at her. Even Adam could not help taking a few more glances. Their young madam was really pretty. Alright, let's go. They'll probably be here by the time we get to the hotel, Qin Yiru spoke first, drawing everyone's attention back to her. Gu Junjian had already gone to pick up his comrades, planning to bring them to the hotel directly. Gu Junjian drove there while Yun Jian and the others walked there, so Qin Yiru was already prepared to bring them to the hotel at 4:30 p.m. Let's go to the hotel for dinner. Xiao Yunju was the happiest, hugging Duanli and Duanya excitedly. Xiao Yunju had been growing rapidly lately, so the clothes he bought previously could not be worn anymore. Qin Yiru usually made more nutritious dishes like pork rib soup for Xiao Yunju, Duanli, and Duanya to nourish their bodies. It was a pity that Dong Ruan's absence was not present, but she had already taken a leave of absence to attend Gu Junjian and Qin Yiru's wedding on May 21st. The group set off from home at 4:30 p.m., walking and stopping. Because Adam was with them, they slowed down. However, Adam's body had recovered a lot after his serious injury, so he did not walk very slowly. At least, he walked at a normal speed. During this time, Lan Su only supported Adam slightly. By the time they reached the hotel, it was already past 5 p.m., Golden Sparkle Hotel. Yun Jian had been to this hotel before, and at this moment, there were a few middle-aged men who looked as handsome as Gu Junjian standing at the entrance of the Golden Sparkle Hotel. These people were none other than Gu Junjian's comrades. Seeing Yun Jian and the others walking over, Gu Junjian smiled and asked, "What took you so long? We've been waiting for you for a while. I thought you wouldn't come so early." Qin Yiru smiled and explained. Chapter 792. The man with thick eyebrows, a square face, and average-looking features was Gu Yunjian's best comrade, Dong Weigua. Gu Yunjian's comrades were not from Zhe province, but from all over the country. Gu Junjian had gotten to know them when he was young. Gu Junjian had been a good-looking man when he was young. He had attended military school since high school. Gu Junjian had joined the military after he graduated from high school and university. Gu Junjian had only gotten to know these comrades after he parted ways with Ai Guoxuan. Gu Junjian had still been training in the military when he got to know these comrades. Later on, Dong Weigua and a few other comrades became Gu Yunjian's friends. However, Gu Junjian had been transferred back to Zhe province, so he had lost contact with these comrades for a period of time. With the advent of the information age and the introduction of mobile phones into the market, Gu Junjian and his comrades were treated well in the military despite being busy with work. Therefore, it was not surprising that Gu Junjian and his comrades had been able to buy a mobile phone. Gu Junjian had kept in touch with his old buddies after he got his hands on a mobile phone. As for today's treat, it was because Gu Junjian and his comrades couldn't make it to his wedding, so they had something to do in the army. Gu Junjian had called them over to treat them in advance since they were free today. It was a form of friendship between former comrades. "You idiot, of course this is your sister-in-law." A man beside Dong Weigua smacked his head with a grin. He then turned to look at Qin Yiru and greeted her with a smile, "Hello, sister-in-law. I'm Brother Ge's underling. Brother Gu had taught me a lot when we were in the military in Shenzhen. You can just call me Xiao Luo." Shenzhen was where Gu Yunjian's military training had been stationed. It was also in Shenzhen that Gu Junjian had gotten to know his comrades. "Hello. Hello." Qin Yiru didn't know how to greet them, so she smiled and waved at them. This man called Qin Yiru, who called himself Xiao Luo, was 38 years old this year. He was the youngest member of Gu Yunjian's team, even younger than Qin Yiru. His real name was Yu Xiaoluo. The rest of them also greeted Qin Yiru. After Gu Yunjian's comrades finished greeting each other, it was Qin Yiru's turn. "This is my daughter, Yun Jian, and this is my son, Yun Yi." Qin Yiru introduced them to each other. Gu Yunjian's comrades also knew that Gu Junjian and Qin Yiru were both married for the second time, and they each had their own families. When Qin Yiru introduced the people behind her one by one, Gu Yunjian's comrades also looked at Yun Jian and Yun Yi. When it came to second marriages, if the other party had children, some children of the other party would not agree to their parents remarrying for the second time. Basically, children were not willing to see their biological parents find other people to start a family after their divorce. Therefore, Gu Yunjian's comrades looked at Yun Jian and Yun Yi with some worry. After all, Gu Junjian and Qin Yiru were married, and they would definitely get along with Yun Jian and Yun Yi in the future. Therefore, whether or not they could get along well with each other was a point that Gu Yunjian's comrades were very concerned about. Gu Junjian was their brother, and they would only be comfortable if their brother was happy. Little girl, how old are you? Therefore, Dong Weiguo turned to look at Yunjian and asked as if he was testing her. Chapter 793. After listening to Yunjian's cold and concise words, Dong Weiguo exchanged glances with his teammates. Look, this child of Gu Yunjian's wife really didn't want her mother to be with Gu Junjian. They had only asked her one question, but she didn't even bother to complete the sentence, I'm 16 years old. How could a young lady who didn't care show such an attitude? Huh, so she's a 16-year-old girl. She's really pretty. She's in junior high now, right? Yu Xiaoluo was younger, so he didn't have the same thoughts as Dong Weiguo and the others. Dong Weiguo and the others were going to be married to Gu Junjian for the second time, and this second marriage was with a family. She had a son and a daughter at home. If the two of them got married, would the son and daughter be unhappy, or be stubborn? They might even find fault with Gu Junjian. However, Yu Xiaoluo didn't have such thoughts at all. Seeing Yunyi smiling all the way, Dong Weiguo and the others felt that Yunyi wouldn't mind Qin Yiru and Gu Yunjian's second marriage. However, looking at Yunjian's indifferent expression, Dong Weiguo and the others were a little worried for Gu Junjian. Moreover, Yunjian was wearing a pink dress today. The pink dress made her look like a young and energetic girl. When Yunjian wore this pink dress, the first impression she gave off was that she was a lively and energetic girl. However, when coupled with Yunjian's cold expression, she gave off the feeling that she was angry. Along the way, he seemed to be in low spirits. That was why Dong Weiguo asked Yunjian these questions. He wanted to test if Yunjian was really unhappy with Gu Junjian and Qin Yiru's marriage. If Yunjian was unhappy with Gu Junjian and her mother's marriage, she wouldn't be nice to Gu Yunjian's comrades. Third year of junior high. Yunjian still replied with 2 words. He didn't talk much, but he was ruthless. This was Yunjian's usual style. However, Yunjian would never have thought that because of her personality, Dong Weiguo and the others would think that she did not agree to the marriage between Gu Junjian and Qin Yiru. Why are you still standing at the door? Do you want to drink the northwest wind? Let's go in quickly, the dishes are ready. Gu Junjian, who had slipped out for a while, came back from the front desk and said half-jokingly. Thus, the group of people followed him into the hotel. They chatted politely as they walked. Because there were many people, Gu Junjian booked a large private room. There was a large dining table in the private room that was large enough for 2 people. Although there were many people present, they were still able to sit around the large dining table. This private room was on the first floor. It was a private room by the window on the first floor. The window of the private room was large and transparent, allowing people to see the pedestrians and cars outside at a glance. Yunjian was sitting facing the window. Her seat was close to the corner of the wall, so it was a good place to watch the scenery. Just as Gu Junjian said, the dishes were served one by one as soon as the group of people sat down. Little girl, you said that you're in the 3rd year of junior high. Then, are you interested in studying at our military academy when you're in high school? You can strengthen your body in the military academy. When you graduate from the military academy, you can hold a grown man with one hand. Hee hee. Yu Xiaoluo started to rope in Yunjian as soon as he sat down. Chapter 794. Upon hearing Gu Yunjian's words, Gu Yunjian's comrades were slightly taken aback. Asking Yunjian to go to Yu Xiaoluo's military academy after graduating from junior high. Yu Xiaoluo was the instructor at Min City's military academy. The military academy in Min City was the one that the other 6 members of Team Monarch had gone to. It had been a while since Chu Ning and the rest had started school, so they must have settled down at the military academy. Although Yu Xiaoluo was rather handsome and his skin was tan due to years of exposure to the sun, his facial features were still quite good. As a military officer at Min City's military academy, when Yu Xiaoluo arranged for Chu Ning and the rest to enroll, Gu Junjian had asked Yu Xiaoluo to take care of them, saying that they were all good seedlings. Now that Team Monarch's name had spread far and wide, Yu Xiaoluo was over the moon when he heard that Chu Ning and the rest were from Team Monarch and were sent to his military academy. Team Monarch. By now, everyone in the military had heard of Team Monarch's name. During today's dinner, Yu Xiaoluo had only been joking when he told Yun Jian that she should come to his military academy from high school. After all, in the eyes of Gu Yunjian's comrades, how could a young and delicate girl like Yun Jian be willing to waste her youth to go to a military academy? However, with Yu Xiaoluo's suggestion, did Gu Junjian really want Yun Jian to go to a military academy from high school? Dong Weigua and the rest were stunned, but they had already concluded that Yun Jian must not be on good terms with Gu Junjian, who was going to be her stepfather. What was going on now? Gu Junjian was actually helping Yun Jian make a choice. That was probably something that only a biological father would do. Moreover, even if a biological father wanted to interfere with a child's choice, he would need the child's consent. What was going on with Gu Junjian? Were they not on good terms? Yun Jian actually agreed? Brother Gu, are you serious? Yu Xiaoluo looked at Gu Junjian and asked in disbelief. After all, what Yu Xiaoluo said just now was just a joke between an adult and a child. Everyone present could see that. But how did it become real in Gu Yunjian's hands? Was Gu Junjian really planning to send Yun Jian to the military academy? It was not easy to stay in the military academy. Moreover, looking at Yun Jian's appearance, her arms and legs were thin. Although the places that should be fleshy were already fleshy, Yun Jian was the kind of person who looked thin in clothes but fleshy when she took them off. When the people present saw Yun Jian like this, they felt that she was a weak and obedient girl. Seeing that his comrades had turned to look at him, Gu Junjian opened his mouth. Just as he was about to speak, a melodious female voice beat him to it. Of course. As soon as Yun Jian spoke, Gu Yunjian's comrades shifted their attention to her. However, Yun Jian continued, my teammates should have registered at the military academy not long ago. I wonder if they're doing well there. Her question was directed at Yu Xiaoluo. Yun Jian was good at reading people's expressions. Based on what Gu Junjian said just now, Yun Jian had already guessed that Yu Xiaoluo was the military academy's instructor in Min City. Her teammates? Yu Xiaoluo frowned and then tried to recall. Recently, other than the 6 members of Team Monarch that Gu Junjian stuffed into him, he did not accept anyone else. Moreover, all 6 of them were from Team Monarch. Moreover, Gu Junjian had said that Team Monarch's slashing god was not old enough and that he would arrange for her to attend his military academy when she was of age. He carefully thought about what Yun Jian said just now. Chapter 795. Once Yu Xiaoluo said that, Dong Weigua and the others widened their eyes. Qin Yiru's daughter who was about to marry Gu Junjian was slashing god of Team Monarch. The slashing god who led Jia province's military to annihilate Inferno Ring? Just like the rumors said, slashing god was really young. Yu Xiaoluo and the others were already aware of this. However, no one told them that slashing god of Team Monarch was Qin Yiru's daughter who was about to marry Gu Junjian. How could such an outstanding talent become Gu Yunjian's stepdaughter? Yu Xiaoluo was only joking when he told Yun Jian to enroll Yun Jian in their military school. Who would have thought that it would actually come true? What's the fuss about? Sit down. Gu Junjian chided Yu Xiaoluo with a half-chuckle before pulling Yu Xiaoluo who was sitting beside him back to his seat. Did Xiao Jian slashing god of Team Monarch really scare you? Look at all of you, heh. Gu Junjian could not help teasing his comrades when he caught them in the act. As he spoke, Gu Junjian picked up a piece of lotus root with his chopsticks and swallowed it with a grin on his face. He looked extremely smug. Yun Jian had become his bragging right now. Yun Jian was his subordinate to begin with, but now, she was his daughter. Although she was not his biological daughter, Gu Junjian had already treated Yun Jian, Yun Yi, Xiao Yunju, the other three, and Ce as his own descendants. My goodness, Brother Gu, you've taken Slashing God as your daughter without a word. You're really something. Yu Xiaoluo was sitting beside Gu Junjian. As he spoke, he reached out and patted Gu Junjian's arm lightly. Dong Weiguo and the others were stunned as well. Qin Yiru, Yun Yi, and the others did not know what Slashing God of Team Monarch was, but they knew that she must be amazing based on Yu Xiaoluo and the others' reactions. Qin Yiru was proud of Yun Jian. When they found out that Yun Jian was Slashing God of Team Monarch, Yu Xiaoluo and the others kept staring at Yun Jian and asking her all sorts of questions. They looked like a bunch of old kids who had bumped into their idol. In fact, that was the truth. Yun Jian could be considered as a prodigy at a young age. To achieve what she did was something that Yu Xiaoluo and the others could not achieve even in their lifetime. Just when the atmosphere was joyous and harmonious, a person suddenly ran in through the door of the private room. Who's there? Did you go the wrong way? Yu Xiaoluo immediately stood up and said. Yun Jian, Qin Yiru, and Yuni looked up and saw the person running in. Uncle? Yuni called out in surprise when she saw who it was. It was none other than Yun Jian and Yun Yi's biological father's elder brother, Yun Zheng. He was also Qin Yiru's ex-husband, Yun Gang's biological elder brother. Why was he here though? Or perhaps, why did he come here? Just as the group wondered, Yun Zheng had already rushed to Yun Jian, Yun Yi, and Qin Yiru and told them, Yiru, Xiao Jian, Xiao Yi, I'm really out of ideas. That's why I'm here to beg you. Xiao Jian, Uncle knows that you're a good girl, a capable one. You've set up new crews at such a young age. Your dad's really in big trouble now. He went to Zhe province's biggest casino to gamble and lost. He can't pay back his debt and now they're here to collect the debt, saying that they're not only going to kill him, they're going to kill our whole family too. Uncle can think of another way, but Yaya's still young. She's only in junior high. Chapter 796. Yun Zheng's sudden arrival made the faces of the few people present somewhat awkward. Especially Gu Junjian. It was because Yun Zheng was Qin Yiru's ex-husband's elder brother. Today's gathering was held for Gu Junjian and Qin Yiru's upcoming wedding, but Qin Yiru's ex-husband's elder brother had barged in halfway. What was going on? In spite of it, everyone present was more or less shocked when they heard what Yun Zheng said. Gu Junjian knew about Qin Yiru's family background in the past as he had heard about it from Qin Yiru back then. Dong Weiguo and the others, on the other hand, were clueless. When they heard Yun Yi and Yun Zheng's conversation, they could tell that Yun Zheng was related to Qin Yiru. However, Yun Zheng's arrival had left a bad first impression on everyone present. Although Yun Zheng's arrival had nothing to do with Qin Yiru, Dong Weiguo and the others felt that their first impression of Qin Yiru was much worse. Currently, Dong Weiguo and the others were only paying attention to Yun Zheng's actions and ignored what he said. Even when Yun Zheng mentioned that Yun Jian founded new crews, Dong Weiguo and the others did not catch it and simply ignored it. He went gambling again. Yun Jian's voice drifted over while everyone was preoccupied with their own thoughts. Yun Jian had already shifted her gaze to Yun Zheng. A glint seemed to be reflected in her penetrating gaze, drawing everyone's attention to her involuntarily. It's the debt from gambling before the new year. I didn't expect him to gamble again. He went to the biggest casino in Zhe province too. Now that the people from the casino are here, he's been taken away. We don't have the money to pay it back. Those people said that if we can't gather the money in 3 days, they'll kill him and our entire family. They even said that they'll sell Yaya to the brothel to pay off the debt. Xiao Jian, I'm begging you to save Yaya. She's innocent. Yun Zheng said with a bitter smile. Actually, Yun Zheng's family was innocent. The cause of the matter was also very simple. Yun Gang had a gambling debt before the new year, and now he was being chased for his debt. Naturally, Yun Gang himself could not pay it back, so his own people were arrested. As the saying goes, the son pays the father's debts. Now, Yun Gang's ex-wife, Qin Yiru, had completely left Yun Gang with Yun Jian and Yun Yi. It could be said that they had cut off all ties with each other. The news that Yun Jian was the director of new crews had also spread. The debt collectors had investigated Yun Jian's family background and knew that they would not dare to ask for money in front of Yun Jian, the director of new crews. This was because everyone in Xinjiang town knew that Yun Jian and Qin Yiru had completely severed all ties with the Yun family. In this case, even if the group of debt collectors came to Yun Jian to collect the debt, she would definitely not give it to them, because she no longer cared about Yun Jian's life. In spite of it, the debt collectors would not give up even if they could not get their hands on the money, so they shifted their attention to Yun Zheng. Yun Zheng was just an honest farmer who knew his place. Back when Qin Yiru was beaten up by a mistress, Yun Zheng had even stood up for Qin Yiru. When Qin Yiru wanted a divorce, Yun Zheng spoke up for her as well. One could say that Yun Zheng was a very good person. He would not have come to Yun Jian for help now anyway. However, Yun Zheng had a daughter. Due to Yun Gang's incident, the debt collectors had set their sights on Yun Zheng's daughter. They even threatened to kill their entire family if they did not pay up. If they could not pay up, they would sell their daughter, Yun Xiaoya, to brothels to make money to pay off the debt. His Yaya had just entered junior high school. Moreover, Yun Zheng was the innocent one who was implicated as well. Because he really couldn't find a way today, and tomorrow morning was the last time that the group of people gave him, Yun Zheng came here. Yun Zheng did not ask for anything else from Yun Jian. He only begged Yun Jian to save his daughter. That was all. Chapter 797. Yun Zheng didn't care about the other people sitting at the scene. He opened his mouth and told the whole story of the matter one by one. At the end of his speech, Yun Zheng was already smiling bitterly. The expression on his face was even more helpless. If it were not for the fact that he was out of options, Yun Zheng would not have come to Qin Yiru when they were having a party. She knew that Yun Zheng's family was innocent and Yun Jian knew that all of this was caused by her biological father, Yun Gang. Moreover, Yun Jian could search her memories and those of the original owner of her body that her uncle, Yun Zheng, had always treated her family well. Back then, when Qin Yiru was the sole breadwinner of Yun Jian and Yun Yi, Yun Zheng would even send some of his own fish to her family. Although the gift was insignificant, the kinship was still there. Unlike Yun Gang, who did not care about his own family matters. Xiao Jian, I'm really at my wit's end, that's why I'm begging you. I'm really begging you, save Yaya. She's my life, she's still so young. Yun Zheng thought that Yun Jian was unwilling to help him when she did not reply for some time. As Yun Zheng spoke, he was shaking all over. As he spoke, he slowly knelt down toward where Yun Jian was. As the saying went, kneel to the heavens, the earth, and your parents. However, Yun Zheng was really out of options. Due to Yun Gang's involvement, the deadline set by the debt collectors would be here soon. Yun Zheng's family was just farmers. How could they fork out so much money? Those people were asking for a total of 500,000 yuan. Was this not asking for Yun Zheng's life? In spite of it, Yun Zheng would rather die than watch his daughter being sold to a place like that. Seeing that Yun Zheng was about to kneel to her daughter, Qin Yiru could not help rushing over to stop Yun Zheng, who was about to kneel to Yun Jian. "Brother, what are you doing?" Qin Yiru asked as she pulled Yun Zheng, who was about to kneel to Yun Jian. Although Qin Yiru and Yun Gang were divorced, Yun Zheng was still the one who helped her when Qin Yiru was at her lowest. Qin Yiru would remember this favor for the rest of her life. Therefore, Qin Yiru treated Yun Zheng as her biological brother. Seeing him kneel to Yun Jian now, Qin Yiru could not bear it. This bastard. I thought he's changed for the better, but he went gambling again. Qin Yiru closed her eyes. She no longer had feelings for Yun Gang, but they had been married for decades. It was impossible to say that she did not care. However, from Qin Yiru's words, it could be heard that she was completely disappointed in Yun Gang. When everyone heard this, especially Gu Junjian and Gu Yunjian's group of comrades, they could not help but sympathize with Qin Yiru's past situation and experiences. They sympathized with Yun Zheng for having such a brother. For a moment, Dong Weiguo and the others who had a lower opinion of Qin Yiru because of Yun Zheng all sympathized with Yun Zheng and regained their opinion of Qin Yiru. Motherf *****, these bastards want to kill people in front of the People's Liberation Army. Dong Weiguo slammed the table and stood up. He looked at Yun Zheng and guaranteed, with me here, I'll see what those hooligans dare to do to you. As soon as Dong Weiguo spoke, the other comrades of Gu Junjian all stood up to speak. At this moment, Yun Jian's voice was clearly heard, you don't have to do anything. This is my family's matter. As Yun Jian spoke, she stood up and turned to look at Yun Zheng, nothing will happen to anyone in your family. Speaking of this, her eyes sharpened. But Yun Gang, I once said that his life and death have nothing to do with me. Chapter 798. She was just a little girl. How could she say such harsh words? No matter what, Yun Jianchong was her biological father, right? How could she say that Yun Gang's life and death had nothing to do with her? Yun Jian had indeed said this before. Yun Gang's life and death had nothing to do with her. Yun Jian had already saved Yun Gang's life back then. She had also said that Yun Gang's life and death had nothing to do with her. Yun Jian was a person of her words. However, Yun Jian's behavior was very different from what she had said. Especially Dong Weiguo and the others. In the beginning, Dong Weiguo and the others thought that Yun Jian did not agree to the marriage between her mother and Gu Junjian. After all, if the child had an unbreakable bond with her biological father, after the parents divorced, if the mother wanted to remarry and wanted to have a child, the child would definitely be displeased. However, Gu Yunjian's group of comrades had guessed wrong. They were ridiculously wrong. When Yun Jian heard that something had happened to her biological father, not only was she not frightened, but she even said that his life and death had nothing to do with her. This was the first time Dong Weiguo and the others had seen a little girl like Yun Jian. Therefore, at this moment, their hearts were fiercely shocked. Yun Gang was his younger brother. Although Yun Zheng did not want anything to happen to Yun Gang, he had no choice in this situation. It was already very good that Yun Jian was willing to help his family. A good gathering was interrupted before it started, but the people present did not say anything. Xiao Yunju and the other two continued to eat their own food. I will help you solve this matter, Yun Jian said. Then, she turned to look at Yun Zheng and asked him, Uncle, have you had dinner? Yun Jian had agreed to help him solve this matter, so Yun Zheng's heart was a little relieved. Not yet. Yun Zheng's heart still had a lingering fear, but compared to his helplessness before, his emotions seemed to be much more stable now. Sit down and have dinner together. I will ask the waiter to bring you a set of cutlery. Qin Yiru said as she called Yun Zheng to sit down together. In the end, Yun Zheng couldn't take it anymore. In addition, he still needed to explain the situation to Yun Jian in detail, so in the end, he just sat down. Gu Junjian was not angry because of Yun Zheng's appearance. In fact, the reason why Gu Junjian and Qin Yiru could be together was because of their mutual tolerance. Therefore, Gu Junjian also expressed his welcome to Yun Zheng, the brother of his wife's ex-husband who was about to marry him. Gu Junjian had heard about Yun Zheng from Qin Yiru. Qin Yiru said that when she was in the Yun family, Yun Zheng was the only one who was friendly to her and would often lend her a helping hand when she was in trouble. After that, Yunzheng told Yunjian that the deadline given by those who came to collect the debt was tomorrow morning. If he didn't have the money tomorrow morning, that group of people would directly snatch Yun Xiaoya away. If they refused to give her the money, they would kill their entire family. Yun Jian said that she would help Yunzheng's family, so naturally, she would help. Although there was that unpleasant episode with Yun Gang, Yunzheng was an honest person. Not only did his participation not cause any awkwardness in the meal, but several of Gu Yunjian's comrades, Dong Weigua, and the others, chatted with Yunzheng without restraint. They chatted about life. Beep, at this moment, Adam's phone suddenly rang. It was the sound of a text message. Adam raised his phone and looked at it. Then, his slender fingers typed a message on the phone and sent it out. After sending the message, Adam turned to look at Yunjian. It was not good to call Yunjian young madam in front of everyone, so Adam coughed lightly. Cough, Yunjian, my friend is here. He's already at the door. Do you mind if he joins us? N. Yunjian raised her eyebrows slightly. Xiao Dang's friend is here. Then why don't you hurry up and invite him in to eat together? Qin Yiru was very hospitable. Not long after Qin Yiru finished speaking, Shuang appeared at the door. Among the 4 leaders of an Hun group, Adam and Shuang were the closest. Chapter 799. Since the men's clothing that Shuang gave to Adam was snatched away by Ce, Shuang gave Adam a Rossini watch after that. Adam was still wearing the watch that Shuang had given him not long ago. Soon, Shuang appeared before them as expected. Shuang was rather handsome as well. Of course, if one were to ignore the huge scar on his neck that looked like it had been carved out by a knife, Shuang's looks might be even more outstanding than Adam's. In spite of it, such a handsome man was disgraced by the scar on his neck. But even with such a terrifying scar, the majority of men were not even half as good as Shuang. Shuang had been to Longmen City before, but he had never met Qin Yiru and the rest. Therefore, Shuang's appearance was a little shocking to everyone present. After all, the scar on his neck was too eye-catching. Quick, quick, quick. Come here. Why are you so slow? We're almost done. Adam hooked his index finger at Shuang from his seat. His irritating look was comparable to Ce's. Shuang did not say anything but followed Adam's lead. Heh, woman, I'm afraid you'll have to give up a seat. I want to sit with my good brother. Adam flicked Lan Su's hand lightly and said with a slight chuckle. When Lan Su heard this, she immediately turned her head and ignored Adam. Hey, woman, your temper's getting worse. Adam chuckled, but he was not really angry. I'll give up my seat for my new gidge. Xiao Yunju looked up at Adam obediently and stared at Shuang for 2 seconds before jumping down from his seat obediently. New gidge, of course, was Shuang. Before he could do so, Xiao Yunju's head was pressed down by Adam. Good boy, Xiao Yunju. There's no need for that, Adam said as he rubbed Xiao Yunju's head. In the end, Shuang took his seat beside Duanli and Duanya, who were beside Xiao Yunju. Adam also introduced Shuang to everyone. His words were very concise. This is my sworn brother, Wang Er. Wang Er was something that Adam had randomly spouted out when Shuang was making up a name for himself. As expected, when the name Adam was spoken, Shuang's expression instantly darkened. Adam, on the other hand, was gloating. Snow Eagle was just a code name. Usually, when they showed themselves to others, they would give themselves a temporary name. On the other hand, Adam's name was more proper, and his name wasn't as shocking as Snow Eagle's. Shuang was the person directly in charge of an Hun organization. He was in charge of the internal affairs of the organization. Therefore, the name Shuang was known to most people in the underworld and the police. However, right after Adam introduced Shuang to the nickname he made up, before Shuang could say anything, Dong Weigua, who was sitting opposite him, said, Wang Er, this this is really a good name. This name was simply unbearable to look at. Dong Weigua still went against his conscience and said this sentence. Shuang pursed his lips. Yun Jian curled her lips and snickered silently. After dinner, Yun Jian rushed home first. Yun Jian had already asked Zhang Zhifan to arrange for someone to deal with that matter. Therefore, Yun Jian didn't need to personally deal with it. This was because Adam casually gave himself the name Wang Er without asking for his permission. After Shuang finished his work, he came all the way from an Han organization to look for him. However, he was mocked by Adam. Therefore, he ignored Adam all the way back. It was already 5:45 p.m. A group of people were already walking by the side of the road. Chapter 800. Zhang Xiaofeng basically did not call Yun Jian, but Yun Jian, Zhang Xiaofeng, and Chen Sini had saved each other's numbers. In 1999, the age of the internet was gradually entering the market. Rich tycoons had cell phones in their hands, and even the daughters and young masters of wealthy families had cell phones in their hands. When Qin Yiru first found out that Yun Jian had a cell phone, she was also slightly shocked. After all, a cell phone was something that she could not even imagine owning in the past. However, if even new crews belonged to Yun Jian, what else was impossible? Therefore, Qin Yiru accepted it as a matter of course. Yun Jian was suspicious, but she quickly picked up the phone. Before Yun Jian could speak, Zhang Xiaofeng's voice came from the other end of the phone. At that moment, Zhang Xiaofeng's voice was laced with a hint of irritation as if he did not know what to do. Master, I can't get through to Sini's phone. I've already called her 20 times and it's been ringing for almost 20 minutes, but she's still not picking up. I heard that you met a talent scout at the school gate yesterday. She left happily at 5 p.m. today and even said that she didn't want me to accompany her. Then, I made an appointment with her to call me when she arrived at Baiguang Model Agency to let me know that she's safe. However, she still didn't call me at 5:30 p.m. I panicked and kept calling her, but she's not picking up. Zhang Xiaofeng's voice trembled slightly. He tried his best to calm himself down as he explained everything clearly to Yun Jian. Although Zhang Xiaofeng and Chen Sini usually bickered, he still cared a lot about Chen Sini during critical moments. Can't get through to her? Yun Jian immediately stopped in her tracks and frowned when she heard Zhang Xiaofeng's explanation. Yes, master, I don't know what to do. Do you think something will happen to Sini like the last time? Bah. There's no such thing. Master, Sini told me this morning that you know who the talent scout is. I'm worried about her. Can you help me find her? Zhang Xiaofeng was about to go crazy. This kind of entertainment company had a lot of inside stories. When some talent scouts tried to recruit newcomers to their companies, there would be all kinds of unspoken rules. Zhang Xiaofeng had repeatedly warned Chen Sini not to go alone, but she refused to listen. Therefore, Zhang Xiaofeng asked Chen Sini to call him when she arrived. However, after Chen Sini left, she didn't call Zhang Xiaofeng. On the other hand, Zhang Xiaofeng called Chen Sini more than 20 times, but Chen Sini did not answer any of them. This made Zhang Xiaofeng very anxious. It was then that Yun Jian recalled that Zhao Jingmin who came to recruit her was a little strange. In spite of it, Yun Jian did not think much of it back then. Moreover, Yun Jian was not a mind reader, so she had no idea what Zhao Jingmin was really thinking. Xiao Jian, what's wrong? Qin Yiru turned to look at Yun Jian when she stopped. Everyone was strolling on the streets as they had a full dinner, which helped with digestion. Mom, I have to go out for a bit, Yun Jian told Qin Yiru after she got Zhang Xiaofeng to stay where he was and wait for her. With that, Yun Jian sprinted to a small path on the side without even bidding farewell. Young. When Adam saw Yun Jian running to the path, he wanted to call out to Yun Jian to tell her that their young master was about to return to Longmen City, but Yun Jian was already gone. This child is really... Qin Yiru could not help shaking her head and sighing as she watched Yun Jian disappear. Chapter 801. After hearing Gu Yunjian's words, Qin Yiru didn't care anymore. She leaned against Gu Junjian and continued to walk with the others. Meanwhile, Yun Jian was rushing towards Zhang Xiaofeng's place as fast as the wind. Yun Jian ran towards the address Zhang Xiaofeng gave her. She saw Zhang Xiaofeng on the side of a big road. Other than that, there was another person standing beside Zhang Xiaofeng. This person was Zhang Jian from their class. Originally, after Chen Sini left with Zhao Zhengmin, who claimed to be a talent scout, Zhang Xiaofeng and Zhang Jian went to Zhang Xiaofeng's uncle's taekwondo dojo to practice. Every Saturday, other than lunchtime, Zhang Xiaofeng would diligently train at the taekwondo dojo alone. Today, since Chen Sini said that she didn't need him to accompany her, he naturally went to the taekwondo dojo to practice. Of course, now that Zhang Xiaofeng had accepted Zhang Jian as his disciple, he might as well bring Zhang Jian along on Saturday. This way, he wouldn't be lonely. However, after waiting for a long time at the taekwondo dojo, he still didn't get a call from Chen Sini. Zhang Xiaofeng was a little anxious, so he called Chen Sini's phone first. However, after the call was made, no one picked up. Zhang Xiaofeng was a little suspicious, but he didn't think that something had happened. However, after calling more than 20 times, Chen Sini still didn't pick up. Zhang Xiaofeng was anxious. He hurriedly ran out with Zhang Jian and called Yun Jian while running. Before Chen Sini left, she had told Zhang Xiaofeng that no matter what happened, when she arrived at Baiguang Model Agency, she had to call Zhang Xiaofeng to keep in touch. However, Chen Sini didn't call and couldn't pick up. What did this mean? Master, what should we do? When Zhang Xiaofeng saw Yun Jian, he immediately ran over with Zhang Xiaofeng. At this time, Zhang Xiaofeng was so flustered that he was speechless. When he was talking to Yun Jian on the phone just now, Zhang Xiaofeng was quite scared at that time, but he still pretended to be calm and explained the ins and outs of the matter clearly. Don't worry, Yun Jian said as she took out her phone and called the Wuxia Mercenaries Intelligence Unit. The last time Qin Yiru went missing, it was a personal matter. The Wuxia Mercenaries Intelligence Group would not keep an eye on everyone. But this time, Yun Jian wanted to investigate Baiguang Model Agency. Just as Yun Jian asked, the intelligence group provided the address and sent all the information about Baiguang Model Agency to Yun Jian's phone. It's at number 67, Shitzi Road, East Street, Longmen City. It'll take about an hour to get there from here. Is there a car? Yun Jian looked up to ask Zhang Xiaofeng. Zhang Jian, who was standing aside, was dumbfounded. It was because he did not know where Baiguang Model Agency was that Zhang Xiaofeng called Yun Jian and was at a loss. But how did his Grandmaster Yun Jian find out the exact location of Baiguang Model Agency with just a phone call? Yes, my house is nearby. I have a Santana sedan, Zhang Xiaofeng said. Lead the way. Run. Yun Jian knew that there was no time to waste, so she spoke. Zhang Xiaofeng caught on quickly and so did Zhang Jian. When the three of them arrived at Zhang Xiaofeng's house, Zhang Jian, who finally caught up with them while panting, suddenly thought of a problem. The three of them were underage. Who would drive? Master, the key. Zhang Xiaofeng dashed into the house to retrieve the key and tossed it to Yun Jian. Get in. Yun Jian said and got into the driver's seat. Zhang Jian got into the car with Zhang Xiaofeng in a daze. Chapter 802. The moment Yun Jian stepped on the accelerator and the car sped off, Zhang Jian's chubby face was blown out of shape by the wind because the car window was rolled down. Zhang Jian felt an unprecedented speed like he was riding a roller coaster in an amusement park. His heart almost stopped beating from the shock. Oh God, who could tell him why Yun Jian was so fast? Zhang Xiaofan was already used to Yun Jian's style. He was only worried about Chen Xinyi's condition now. Therefore, to Zhang Xiaofan, the faster Yun Jian drove, the better. Yun Jian's car was indeed fast. She drove at a speed of 100 miles per hour in the crowded downtown area. The car was like thunder and lightning, scaring the passers-by into retreating. An hour's walk, which was equivalent to a 20-minute car ride, would only take 5 minutes for Yun Jian. Zhang Jian could still feel his legs shaking like springs even after he got out of the car. In spite of it, when he saw Yun Jian and Zhang Xiaofan walking toward the skyscraper in front of them after getting out of the car, he quickly followed them with his trembling body. Zhang Jian was plump and did not look like much, but he was quite fast. He was not as fast as Yun Jian and Zhang Xiaofan, but he was already considered fast among normal guys. Yun Jian and Zhang Xiaofan ran in front. It was a skyscraper that was more than 10 stories tall. It was already impressive to build a skyscraper with more than 10 stories in Longmen City in 1999. If one were to look at it from afar, there were a few golden words hanging on the roof of the skyscraper, Beiguang Model Agency. Yun Jian and Zhang Xiaofan were already at the entrance, but before they could enter, they were stopped by a receptionist who looked like a model. "I'm sorry, ordinary people aren't allowed in here." The receptionist extended her arm to stop Yun Jian and Zhang Xiaofan boldly. This kind of entertainment company usually didn't allow people other than the staff to enter. This was because there were still many artists in the entertainment company. Moreover, if there were non-staff members in the company, it would be troublesome if they were fans of a certain artist. Therefore, ordinary people were usually not allowed to enter this place. Unless they were here for an audition or were brought in by someone who worked here, like Zhao Zhengmin. Zhang Jian stood at the back and watched. He suddenly felt a little anxious. He had just found the place and was blocked. He couldn't enter. Just as Zhang Jian was thinking about this, Yun Jian's cold voice sounded, "Get out of the way." "I'm sorry, I'm just being fair," the lady said. Yun Jian lifted her leg and used her knee to kick the hostess's abdomen. After being kicked by Yun Jian, the hostess fell to one side. Taking advantage of this gap, Yun Jian shouted to Zhang Xiaofan, who was standing behind her in a daze, and Zhang Xiaofan, who was used to her style, "Let's go." With that, the three of them stepped inside. "Security! Security!" Someone forced their way in. The hostess shouted as she held her stomach. Her tone towards Yun Jian just now was neither cold nor warm. Now that she was kicked, she hated Yun Jian even more. For a place like Beiguang Model Agency, they naturally hired a lot of staff and security guards. They were afraid that troublemakers would come looking for trouble. Therefore, in a short while, a large group of tall and strong security guards appeared in front of Yun Jian and the other two. "Where did this little girl come from? How dare you cause trouble here? Get out of here!" The leader of the security guards shouted at Yun Jian. At the same time, he waved the stun baton in his hand. Zhang Jian looked at the security guards with stun batons and immediately shrank back in fear. Chapter 803. With that, a butterfly knife appeared in Yun Jian's hand. Yun Jian had just bought the butterfly knife and had yet to use it. Today, she would use it on the security guards. F***ck. Zhang Jian could not help but exclaim softly when he saw Yun Jian pulling out a knife. However, he quickly reacted. Yun Jian was prepared. She had a knife with her at all times. This made Zhang Jian proud. His grandmaster was indeed the killing god of Team Monarch. Even her posture was so cool. However, Zhang Jian still glanced at Yun Jian worriedly. Although Yun Jian had a butterfly knife in her hand, the security guards had electric batons in their hands. These batons were electrified. As long as it came into contact with the power source, although it would not kill the person who was hit would feel a strong electric shock. After that, the person would feel numb and weak all over, losing the ability to move in an instant. Even if Yun Jian was superhuman, she would not be able to avoid this. Therefore, Zhang Jian was still very worried. Moreover, there were so many security guards. With so many security guards surrounding Yun Jian, no matter how powerful Yun Jian was, there was no guarantee that she would not be hit, right? Just as Zhang Jian was thinking about this, one of the security guards growled, F***ck, this young lady even has a knife. Isn't she looking for trouble? The security guard who was the leader then shouted at Yun Jian, young lady, put down the knife and leave with your friends. Then, we won't make things difficult for you. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude. With that, the security guard turned on the switch of the electric baton in his hand. Once the switch was turned on, the electric shock head of the electric baton immediately sizzled. In fact, the security guard was also afraid of the butterfly knife in Yun Jian's hand. After all, if Yun Jian were to stab randomly, there were only a few security guards present. He could easily get stabbed. Moreover, it was not easy to find a job. The security guard's salary was very low. If he were to lose his life for such a meager salary, would it not be worth it? Therefore, the security guard turned on the power switch of the stun baton in his hand. His purpose was to intimidate Yun Jian and Yun Jian so that they could leave on their own. We will not leave. Unless you hand over my cousin. Zhang Xiaofan glared at the group of security guards in front of him. He was so angry that his teeth itched and his whole body trembled. At the thought that something might have happened to Chen Sini, Zhang Xiaofan felt a lingering fear. He also hated himself for not coming with Chen Sini. If something bad really happened to him, then how was his cousin going to live? The leader of the security guards immediately knew what was going on. Their company's talent scouts loved to abduct beautiful and gullible girls to come over for auditions. In fact, on the surface, it was said to be a film and TV series, but in fact, it was filming something that could not be described in words. Moreover, there were unspoken rules in the company that everyone was aware of. Usually, when the group of talent scouts tricked the girls into coming in, if the girls were not obedient, they would probably be done directly. In the end, they would even film a video to force the girls to comply. Otherwise, they would be exposed. The security guards all knew about these things. However, they were all low-class people who worked for a salary. Naturally, they could only pretend that they did not know. Where did your cousin come from? This is Baiguang Model Agency. The person you are looking for is not here. Go, 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 all of you, get out. The leader of the security guards walked over with the electric baton turned on. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.